We're going live. Here
Bada
we
boom.
are. Oh, wow. We already got a bunch of comments here.
Bada boom. I haven't seen him yet.
Troy, Barber, Daryl Wiggins, Billiam D. I
It's
don't
Billiam.
know. Billiam.
I can't see him yet.
Rowdy Houndsmen. Rowdy Houndsmen. Tim B. The Trapping Houndsman. There you go. Jeremiah, he's here. Missy, of course, Missy's here. Good to see you, Missy. Caveman. Who is Caveman?
I don't know.
Mike Mitchum. First, can everybody hear us okay?
We got Jeremy with us tonight who's doing work.
Jeremy is providing a community service. What is it? What is it you're doing, Jeremy?
Teaching Hunter's Ed.
Hunter's Ed. He's a good man. You're also a police officer, aren't you?
Yep. Deputy sheriff. There's a difference.
Were you in the service also?
No.
No.
I've been a service to my community since I was 18. So
very good.
Been doing it a while.
We want to thank all the veterans. It's Veterans Day. We wouldn't be here doing a live show without you guys.
Nope.
So.
Don't you have your applause? Don't you got your applause?
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on.
Yeah.
Thank you to all the veterans.
Thank you to all the veterans.
Hang on. I got a thumbs up. We need some fireworks. We need double thumbs, Jeremy. Double thumbs. Oh, you can't. You're holding it.
Yeah, I got it. I'm holding it. Hold on. We can figure this out.
We got.
Hang on. We got double. Come on. Where's our veteran fireworks?
We got Rowdy Houndsman. I'm always scared of putting somebody online whose name is Rowdy.
Just not working tonight.
Won't do it. Yeah. I don't think you can see me.
Rowdy's one of them dry. Well, Rowdy hunts snow. He just always gets stuck in the snow.
I hunt both just because I'm an opportunistic guy.
How far do you have to drive to get to snow?
There we go.
It varies by the day. I might drive an hour. I might drive 3 hours.
But you do drive to get to it.
Oh yeah, no, I've got to drive. The minimum is an hour, and it's really just running the dogs. There ain't much probability of catching lion. It's just a spot that there might be a lion, but 2 to 3 hours is where the lions are.
Do you bump when you? Here we go. Is everybody ready for this? How many people we got in here? I'm already starting. Do you bump into a lot of other hunters when you get into that area?
Some areas more than others. Like there's the Pine Nuts that's outside of Carson. I've seen quite a few hunters there. Other places, not so much because it's more remote and
less roads.
It's tougher hunting. Less roads, steeper mountains. It's just not as conducive for road hunting.
Is that Jeremy's mic that's making all that noise?
Yeah, he's in a convention thing going on over there. He's an instructor.
Okay.
Go outside, Jeremy.
We are outside. We're in a tractor shed.
Making a lot of noise over here.
We turned them loose on it's like herding cats. So they're on break. Do it like this. How about that? You hear me now?
Well, I can always hear you. It's we can hear you. It's just that we can hear everybody else too.
Oh. I ain't got no control over that. I got kids playing football. Hold on. Let me move. I'm going to turn the film on. I'm going to sit down and watch film.
There you go.
What's bad is they give me the book with the answers and questions and stuff in it. I don't like it.
Did you see that? Did you see the helicopter rescue of the dogs left with no snow planning?
Where was that at?
I think that was Shorty Gorham's or Chris's or one of those guys up here at Folsom, New Mexico, way up there on the Colorado border, I believe it is.
Did you see the helicopter rescue of the dog left with no snow planning? Are you supposed to plan for snow? Shoot, sometimes you plan it.
Well, yeah, and then they'll usually exaggerate, say we're going to get, not us down here, but they're going to get a foot of snow and they get like a skiff.
And then they say they're going to get a skiff of snow.
And you get 3 feet.
And you get 3 feet, exactly.
Yeah. Mother Nature.
I guarantee that's what happened. They said, oh, hey, we're going to get a dusting of snow. And next thing you know, there's 3 foot of snow that you didn't know about.
Yeah.
I don't know who that was. Did it happen in New Mexico or something?
I think it had something to do with that, with Shorty and Gorham and Chris Powell and them. I at least seen it on Facebook that they had shared it.
Where?
Yeah, I think you're spot on there, Chris. I'm sorry, Brett.
Don't confuse me with him. Lord of mercy.
I'm sorry. You know, you're both good-looking men. And you got
now he's redeeming himself now.
Lies won't get you nowhere.
I'm just jealous of those beards.
You should be.
I'm
I'm jealous of your mustache. I mean, you look like you put on a cowboy hat and a 6-shooter, and you'll fit right in the Wild West.
Fighters going on. That's for certain.
You're gonna make me blush there, Brett.
I don't know. I can't say nothing about planning because today I took 4 bottles of water and I had 2 cans of oysters and some Fritos. That was my get out of jail card for the day. And then I got in kind of some bad situation. Well, not bad situation. It was easy. When I got in a canyon, I probably shouldn't have went up. And I didn't want to turn around and go back, you know. And I planned on a game water having water, and I got back around down there, and that thing was bone dry. And lucky it had a little reserve on it, the reserve tank, and it had some water in that reserve tank, or I'd have just dumped the rest of my water for my dogs. But it was nice today. It was 47 degrees in the morning, and by the time I got back to the truck at noon, it was like 80 degrees.
I take a pack mule sometimes, and then I've got those, what do they call them, dorm or something bags? I don't ever know how to say it correctly. They hold, I think, 2 gallons of water, 2.5 gallons of water. And you can hang them on the sawbuck. Yeah. When I know I'm going someplace where, I'm not sure about getting water. I
drive to the
Do what?
I drive to the tree. My water's on the range.
Your water's all over the ground out there in the swamp.
Right now it is. You got about 4 inches of rain.
You don't have to worry about water where you're at.
Well, and I haven't been
more than half of what I get annually.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 4 inches. That's if we had 4 inches around here, there's no telling what would wash away.
I got to see Arizona's annual rainfall while I was out there.
Oh yeah, when I got down to Casey's house, it dumped, and it rained really good. I ended up staying down there. Mm-hmm.
So, Chris, do you ever drive? Do you ever drive up to hunt the snow? Do you ever do that?
I live in the snow. I actually left the snow. I could have went and snow hunted. I don't know, man. Jared busts my balls all the time about it and go train your pups and this and that. And everybody's up there being snow hunters and catching, and it's just nothing that impresses me much.
You just don't enjoy it.
I don't enjoy it, and I really should. I should take my pups, and I don't know, like where I was today, I knew I wasn't going to catch that cat. It was just old and dry, and it's even the greasewoods are dying. The cholla's dying. It's so dry over there, So it's hard. I don't know. It's just what I enjoy. That desert in the winter, you can't beat the desert when it's cooled off. I mean, it's just beautiful.
How far did you trail?
Probably I started down the bottom up at probably 3.5 miles, but
that's good.
12 miles as you walk across rock. It was horrible. They took off. I went up a canyon, they went up a canyon, and I just jumped over, and they started trailing up. I sent you a little video, and they went up and over. So I said, oh shit, man, I don't want to go up through that canyon. It'd take me too long. So I said, well, I'll just go around this range. And I went around this range, and there was more range and more range. So I decided to go up a canyon, another canyon, and it kept opening up. So I kept going and going and going. And I got to where it was about a half mile from me. I ended up just going up and over. But I had to walk up the canyon. I probably could have rode some of the way, but I like to save my mule for when I can't walk no more and take me back to the truck. So, and she didn't mind it. We walked up, and when I got a couple dogs that came back, a couple pups, and then we got up and over, and they got down in a big valley, and they were doing these circles. So I just ended up going down to that valley and going to where they were circling, and man, I caught 2 tracks that were probably lion track. You know, they had the round toes, and it's in the sand wash, and it's all washes. This whole bottom of the floor of this valley is wash. You can't go 20 yards, hit another wash, you know, jump over another wash. And these are like 20, 30 foot across, the small ones, you know, and then you get those ones that are about 50, 60 foot across. And man, there's tracks in big circles around there, and I just couldn't pull it out of there. Hey, what are we doing?
Look at this. We got another one in here.
Oh, there he is.
Been infiltrated.
Our Monday night lives are deteriorating.
That's true. You got me talking on here.
Send me another one. I got one here that I got one now, and my dogs aren't moving the track. Now this, I had a weird deal. I took off to go into some country. I've caught 3 lions up there. It's about a 2-hour drive from here, and I was going to find me a place to set up my tent where I'm gonna try to. What I hate. That's why I was asking everybody about how far they drive to hunt. I hate to drive 2 hours, hunt all day, and then have to drive 2 hours back home. It just
Yeah,
the drive
absolutely. It drives me insane.
wears me out. I mean, I'm tired. The next day, I don't feel like going. So I was just going up there just to make a little circle and see if I know of a place kind of where I want to set up a camp that's out of the way, and it's good country. And dadgummit, we were going up through there and found a big old Tom Lion scrape, you know, and you know, I think it was older than it really was, and I had a young dog. I got excited, you know, and I was talking to the dogs, and I think I got a young dog kind of too excited, and I got trashy just like those dogs. I mean, she went over there and started barking on something, and I kept thinking she's a neat dog, and I keep thinking she's gonna really turn into something. She's a young dog. She's never seen a lion, but she is a trailing sucker, and after I left, I got a phone call. My phone works. They had found a drag mark across the road on another ranch down below, and they weren't sure if it was a calf or what it was. They said they didn't disturb it. They were wondering if I could come down there and check it out. So the dogs were just milling, and on the way out, I realized, I said, well, you know, my good dogs never barked on that. But, you know, I was enthusiastic for the young dog. And so I went over there to that other place, and ends up that deer, it was a deer they'd killed. It was completely cleaned up, but we trailed until after dark. I kept thinking, you know, it was going to be a layup that lion had just killed that deer that night, and she was going to be laid up there somewhere close. And no, she'd cleaned it up, and she left out of there. I talked to Rick Dickerson, though, after that, and he said, no, he said, you need to go back and check that. He said, she'll be back. She said she might not be back right now, but she might be back in 3 or 4 days just to check it. You know, she'll be making a little loop through there, and she'll go check her old kill. And
Yeah, I think they do that to see who comes around
yeah,
or what comes around.
I should have put a camera on it. I should have put a little game camera on it and come back and check the card and get a little more data, you know. But
Agreed,
I was
yeah.
tired. I left my mule in the trailer, and I just took off walking. And we kept trailing. I just kept on walking with them. Forgot my tracker. So it was, I even got a little video. Let me see if I do this.
I sent you that other one.
Okay. I'll get it here in just a minute.
Benny, you're the
There
hero.
is Mr.
Jamaican. I
There's
know.
the bear poker himself.
Hey guys, I'm gonna jump off here. I'm gonna go finish teaching this class. We'll see y'all.
Yeah, take care of
Hey,
business,
See you, Jeremy.
Jeremy. We'll see you.
I said, hey, if you want to jump on, go ahead. I didn't know he was doing a class. I didn't know
What's
he
he
was
teaching?
Hunter Ed.
Oh.
Huh.
Yeah, I didn't
Well, that's
know that.
pretty freaking cool.
I know. A lot of work. They started a Hunter Ed up by us, but they hadn't had one in our region. And I'm gonna tell you, in Arizona, you can do the online school or whatever, and then to get a field day, it's absolutely ridiculous. They post it Tuesday morning. I would get on my phone, sign my boys up. There's 12 openings. Sign my both boys up before I hit enter. I'd hit enter to schedule it, and it says you're on a waiting list. It's already full.
Oh shoot, that's
Within
good.
20
I'm
minutes.
glad to hear that. That means there's a lot of people interested.
There is a lot of people, so they got some. I bump into a game warden I know, and I said, "Hey, man, this is stupid." She goes, "Oh, they're doing them up here now." So she kind of hooked me up and got me before they even were ready to start. Pulled some strings, I guess. But the lady called me and said, "Yeah, you're going to sign up." I said, "Yeah, I got 2." So I just redid the whole class. I paid for the online thing and everything. I ended up just sending them through the whole class again because it was like 6 months. I could not get one. So I'm like, they're not going to remember none of this stuff. So
Yeah.
we just signed up. I went with them, and we did I didn't think about it. I should have signed up myself and got me an extra bonus point. You get a bonus point for it, I believe.
Yeah, Arizona.
Yeah, so I finally got them in it just in time. They literally got their card the day bear season started. So they got their cards that Friday, and we killed the bear on Saturday or Sunday, and killed another one on Monday.
Dude,
So-
that's awesome. Good job.
Barely made it. You know, I might. There's some units that over-the-counter elk are still open all year, so I might let them go whack some cows so I have some meat.
I like it.
And here's Jared. We're talking about snow. Jared yelled at me because I was down here in the desert. He said, "Go hunt the snow, stupid." both of those guys razzing me all day. And to hear me, I get out there at 4:30 in the morning, and it don't get dark till light till 6:30 or something like that. What time does it get light, Jared?
Down here, I think on Saturday it was 6:48.
God dang, I didn't know that. So I get there 4:30. I'm like, man, it's kind of dark. So I just kind of kick back, take a little nap. Like I didn't want to oversleep and wake up at 7. So I wake up and it's like 4. It's 5:30. Nothing. Dark. I'm like, damn. So I kind of just in and out, and 6 o'clock, nothing. I'm like, God. So I see that sun trying to start to come up. So I got out, and I have my 2-horse trailer, and I think I could probably saddle her and throw her in that 2-horse trailer. I don't like to because
You got to
it
tie
has
those.
that rail.
You tie those
Yeah,
stirrups
load
up.
2-horse, I don't saddle anything and load them up.
Can you not tie the
Well-
stirrups up over the top? And
No, I could, and she's small, and this.
That's what we used to do.
I have tapaderos, and they point in and kind of suck in. Anyways, my other trailer I built, it don't have that middle bar. I built a ramp on it, and I just don't. I hate saddling out there. I love saddling at home. Throw them in, and I get out there, tighten it up, and go. I usually throw my saddlebags on and my rifle, and I go. So I had to saddle her up.
I always saddle up out when I get there.
Yeah, I always saddle before I go because I like to just go and get out and leave.
I got those big, well, when I get out early enough, I got those big lights on my trailer and everything. And I got all my, excuse me, I got a solar system in there, and I got all my collars hung up there where they charge.
Yeah.
You know, they stay charged, and everything stays right there, you know, and when I leave, I got everything I need right there. So
I don't, my 2-horse don't have nothing in it. I literally bought 2 horses for $1,500. This one's in mint condition. The other one was 100% remodeled. The paint is immaculate on it. The tires were brand new. Has the little shiny hubcaps. The guy rolled it. So
empty.
The axles were, yeah, I believe so. I don't know, but the axles were kicked over. So when my son towed it home, it would go down the road sideways. But we pulled those axles off, threw it on another trailer we bought for $500. I took that trailer, and I have like this 16-foot trailer that the axles are way in the back. And I set that 2-horse right on the back of that, and I'll have room for, it sets low to the ground. I have a little dovetail on it. So they'll load right up, and I have enough room on the front for my quad and some camping gear. So it's going to be kind of nice little trailer.
Is that 2-horse you have? Does it have like the feeding decks in the front that go halfway with the trailer?
Yeah, they're not. Most 2 horses are 9 foot, 6 foot of trailer, and like 2.5, 3 foot of the front deck.
Yeah.
So.
What I've always wanted to do is put a hole in that feeding deck or whatever, and run a stove deck up through the ceiling, and put a wood burning stove in that thing, and you could just sleep in that thing at night.
My 30 foot has one of those. You know, they're real short, so you'd have to kind of. But it's all you'd have to probably do is put a. What are those called? What's that?
I'm 5'9". I'm not like you.
I'm not that. But it's all you need is one of them. What are those called? Those camping buddies or those, whatever, the heater buddies. Buddy, you probably just put one of those in the top deck and then close off. My cousin had a real nice one. It was all enclosed, but you could take the top part of the back door off if you wanted. So those opened up with the door, or you could take them off. It was really nice. He ended up selling it for quite a bit. But I just piled all my trailers in a row. I'll send Brett a picture. Show that video where my dogs are trailing up that mountain, the right one. Up and over.
I'll show you what. This is, let's see, I got there at 5 o'clock at this kill that evening. And I don't know if she had been there the night before. I mean, the kill was completely consumed. There was the paunch. You know how they set the paunch? The paunch will just stay right up on top. And tell you what, now, we weren't moving that like we were moving it like it was, you know, a 18-hour-old track. But we moved it until dark.
I expected you to come over the hill and have that big scarred up Tomlin in the tree again.
Which one? Who are you talking to?
Yeah,
to you, one? Brett.
Oh, I wanted to have him. He might not live this time.
That
She
whole
don't do
bottom
anything
of
wrong.
the whole bottom of that floor I was at was all that greasewood too.
Greasewood's terrible. That
I
black
couldn't-
or that red and white dog that was just really track to track. She's about the only thing I got that'll really. But you can sit there and take a nap, eat lunch, make you some coffee, build a fire, and she'll go about 20 feet, but she won't lose it. She won't leave that track. She'll stay moving. When she moves it just steady. But she ain't gonna. I don't think she's gonna go catch you much, but she'll sure get you through some bad spots.
You know, he's talking about that deer. We had a long at night. We were actually bear hunting, not illegally, but kind of, because we were just rig training. There was no bear season, but we had some snow in May. And it was just a real thin layer of snow. Like, well, let's take the pups out and go rig training. That way we know they're rigging what they're supposed to. And we ended up catching a kind of frozen out track. And we ended up walking it out. And my buddy walked it out and found a spike elk. And he's like, there's a kill down here. Well, I went around, come around this other side, went down, and it's like, man, that you could see where the lion was laying up. It was melted out, like she was just there. He was just there. I get up, I go back to get some dogs around the other side that are just scurrying around. And when I left, when I came back, that lion crossed my tracks. So we busted it out of there, and it waited till I drove by again, went off. So we dropped all these dogs and walked in and caught this lion. So real nice little Tom. Real nice. It was 125, 130 pounds. And that thing, he was young. So that was just by accident. Oh, and the carcass. So we were going to go back the next day and put a camera on it. And that thing was stripped clean by bears and
Bears.
coyotes. I mean, stripped. It looked like it'd been there a week. It was unbelievable. I got there at 10 in the morning too, and it was done that fast. So if they're hungry, they'll eat. Hey, you know what I found a skeleton of today? A baby. I'm missing one. I pulled another 2-horse over there. Then I got 2 goosenecks.
You got that junk disease, don't you?
Well, you see that trailer on the left? That's the trailer he rolled. So I'm going to set that trailer on that quad trailer, I call it. That's a homemade trailer we built. And then I'll put my quad will fit on the front because I'll pull all that hitch and frame from under that trailer. I have the top and everything, but the guy it's a 70s and just it's all, you can see the paint's beautiful on it. And man, he rolled it. It came off truck or something. And then that third one is one I bought for $100 and built everything on it.
How many do you need? How many do you need?
Slant.
How many do I need? Probably more than that. That's my retirement. All that shit in my yard. If I sold everything in my yard for $500, I could probably just pay everything off.
I'd like to have a 2-horse slant that's got a tack room in the front, or if it's a bumper pull, I'd like to have a tack room in the front, and then 2-horse slant so you could load those horse and mule or 2 mules that are already saddled up, and then the dogs in the truck. That'd be my
basically that's what mine is. Mine's a bumper pull. We made it a slant.
Hey.
And I cut a big open door in the front, and then I put a solar panel on top. I put a lithium ion battery in it, and then it's got the lights shine out the back. And of course, I got my dog box in the back of the truck, but then I put a rooftop tent on top of my dog box, so I have a place to stay. And I don't mind that tent. Yes. The biggest problem with it is, being an old man in the middle of the night, you got to pee. And you hate to climb down that stinking ladder to pee, so you just carry your pee bottles up there.
I got a perfect trailer for somebody. If you want a gooseneck with dog boxes, and I think it has living quarters too.
Hold on, Chris. Chris, hold on. Benny, is your mic on?
I think it is. Why?
I hadn't heard you say a word yet.
He's quiet. He's quiet.
I talked to a man about your buddy today.
Oh, Knucklehead?
Knucklehead, yeah. He's going to come on. We're going to pitch you guys against each other. We're going to sit back and watch.
Yeah, he's
great
full of
debate.
shit.
Do
You
what?
think he'll own up? He'll own up to all that stuff? Nah.
Well, we got to give him a chance to. Well, really, I'm just doing it for entertainment value. I don't really care.
I'm entertained. I want to know about this.
Yeah, I'm like you. I want to see them come at each other. I wish we could do it in person. That would really be fun.
Well, no, because then Benny would beat the bejeebus out of him.
We'd have to set up. We'd have to set up some rules. Like
give each of them a set of boxing gloves. Say, all right,
4 2-minute rounds.
Yeah, exactly. After every question, you get a 1-minute round.
Yeah. That would be good. That'd be good watching.
Right.
Sorry to interrupt you, Chris.
Out there just dropping haymakers.
Do you got that video I sent you, Chris, of Saturday?
You mean those dogs chasing deer?
Right.
He had me edit it. It looks like a lion now.
I got some of those.
Perfect.
I got some of those videos, but I don't share them with anybody.
Tell you what, if my dogs caught a coos deer, I'd be happy.
I'd tag it.
Is that a ringtail?
To me?
Looks like a ringtail cat.
It does look like a ringtail.
It is. It's a little baby one too.
Did you keep the skull?
I've had my dogs catch
dog
some of those things.
Grabbed it.
Pull them right out of a crack in a rock.
They do. They hide in some tiny spots too. So I sent you. If anybody's looking for a trailer, this is the trailer.
Man, that's a nice dog.
It's in a gooseneck. Really nice. There's a whole bunch of pictures in that. That's in a gooseneck.
How do I get to them? That's the only.
Go.
Hold on, I got to download them.
Oh.
And then I got to go over here. There's a process on this Mac computer.
I think he wants $6,500 for this trailer, and I'm trying not to buy it. I'm trying not to.
You should buy it.
Afraid it'll make the rest of. He's afraid it'll make the rest of the trailers look chunky.
I sent it. There is a full picture of it, I think. Let me double check. If anybody wants to buy it, please. Cause I'll be divorced.
I don't think Chris heard me.
So, Jared.
I'll send. Jared, this is your truck, Jared. This is your trailer.
I already said you should buy it so I can borrow it.
I think I sent the whole trailer to you.
It looks like it'd be hard to get down some of those little narrow roads.
It's long. Pretty sure I sent you. I mean,
that is the nice part about southern Arizona is we got all them border patrol roads.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
So they keep them pretty nice.
Photos. I forgot about this trailer.
Golly, Chris. I got all these pictures. I got them.
Oh, all right.
What were they, like bird dog people or something?
No, he bear hunts and stuff. Yep. I'll show you something else I found today on the desert. Good find. Found them just like I sent it to. There you go, Jared.
Oh. That doesn't work with my dog box idea, though.
Wait. There's another full picture of it.
That thing's dang near 30 feet.
Don't be scared. My trailer's 30 foot. I have a 30-footer. It has a wood stove in it.
I like a wood stove, but then you got to get up in the middle of the night and stoke it. So I'm gonna play with the that Chinese diesel heater. My wife's got an elk hunt in the next week, and I'm gonna I'm gonna try that out and see how well that works. And because if that sucker will run all night without having to get up and stoke it, I'll be happy.
You know those Walmart compressed kerosene logs or whatever?
Kerosene what?
Like, it's a compressed wood with soaked in kerosene or something. Like, it's sawdust compressed, and they make like a little fire log. They sell them at Walmart for like $5.
Yeah, the Instalogs or something.
Yeah, those burn for like 4.5 hours.
We used to make those.
Okay.
I like
you got. You know, I'm going to say this. You guys just need to quit being pussies. Just put up with the cold.
Get a better sleeping bag.
Trust me, I've camped out and I've woke up with a tent hanging down on top of my nose because it snowed a foot. I've got elk hides that I usually cover myself up during elk season. I'm just saying.
Those are so nice.
Oh, it keeps you toasty warm, and you wake up, and then the tent's right there. You never even knew it. But I'm taking my wife out for her elk hunt, and I want her to be comfortable.
I got that little snow tracker tent, and it has a little wood burning stove in it. And of course, when you're close to the truck, you just take a 5-gallon propane bottle, and I got a My Buddy heater, and you just put that in there, and it keep it toasty all night. But I've been staying in that rooftop tent, and surprisingly, and I haven't stayed in it a whole lot, but it stays pretty warm. I mean, I don't get that. I don't get that cold, really. I mean, cold doesn't bother me as bad as heat. When it's hot, I don't feel like doing nothing.
Yeah.
But the cold
Jared
really doesn't bother me that bad.
Jared has his stovepipe is flaming red in the middle of summer almost down there.
I forgot to give everybody their names.
I do not like the cold.
I don't. You're down by Tucson, aren't you?
Yeah.
It don't matter.
So you're about like I am. I mean, it's just now getting cool enough where a guy can go out and make a big circle.
Yeah, I trailed the Tom, a traveling Tom, until dark on Saturday.
What time did you start him? Tell us the story.
So I probably hit him at 8:30, 9 o'clock
in the morning.
In the morning.
How did you find it?
My little squeaker dog, she started wagging her tail 90 miles an hour, and then everyone went over there. And then as soon as everyone went over there, my June dog opened up, and they back trailed that bugger for about 400 yards before I found a track. And I found a track. I yelled, hollered, and I got June and Swede. They're 7. They came back to me, and they started pushing the track the other way. Squeaker, I bought her last year in March, so she doesn't quite trust me yet. You literally got to grab her by her collar and her butt and turn her around the other way to get her to go where you want. Otherwise, if she's on a line, she will flip you the middle finger the whole time.
She says, I know what I'm doing. Leave me alone.
Yeah. So I had to run and catch her and the puppies because she was bringing the puppies with her. I got her turned around, and they pecked at that thing all day. I mean, it was nothing good. They'd hit us. It was in a wash the whole time. So they'd hit some rocky spots, and they'd open and trail real good. And then they'd go 40, 50 yards and start smelling again, hit the track again, go another 40, 50 yards. The way the crow flies, we trailed about 4 miles.
That's a good day, though. I mean, that's...
Oh, yeah. My 1.5-year-old puppy rubbed his nose red. And he wasn't with... He frustrates me because he doesn't hang out with the bigger dogs. He's broadcasting 30, 40 yards around him the whole time.
Do you attribute that to impatience?
Just young and dumb. I mean, he's only seen one lion last year in March when I first started hunting him. And I got to get him on a snow lion and my other dog. Just because they rely too much on the bigger dogs to do all the work. Because in the dirt, you take everyone with you.
Absolutely.
Where if I go up in Chris's country and it's 100% snow. I'm not taking my 5 and 7-year-olds. They know how to catch them in the snow. I'll just take them
You
to.
don't? Do you not take them because you don't want to spoil them?
No, it's just they don't need to see another lion in the snow. But
you think it would help out the pups?
Yeah. Do you know how much of a confidence booster
No.
that would be if they did it on their own?
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying.
You know?
I don't know. I just heard him call you a snow hunter, Chris.
What I used to do in Nevada.
I haven't stepped a foot in the snow.
What I used to do in Nevada was I'd find a lion track and I'd back off of it 300 yards, 200 yards. I'd let everyone out, let everyone clean out. And then I'd grab the puppies and we'd walk up to the lion track, walk into it. And, you know, that way I knew what direction it was going. I knew the whole scenario so I could help them along the way.
That's Jared's video I sent you, Brett.
And
I don't know if you got it yet.
Like, I got a 4-year-old
Might not have got it yet.
No.
I got a 4-year-old walker dog that's out of my bone dog stuff. And she's a solid dog, but she will not start her own track. She won't do it.
Just doesn't have just
like
the something. She don't do it. No.
Well, what if you took her by herself?
I've done it. She just maybe I was too hard on her when she was a pup.
How old is she?
4.
That's the videos I sent you there. His dogs.
I haven't got it yet. Not on the computer. I got it on my phone. Last thing I got was a couple sheds.
That's what I found today. Sitting just like that.
Did you?
Cody Lynn
Those are some hefty sheds. Those are stout.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're probably 2 years old. They're not. I don't know if it's a matching set, but they're sitting right next to each other. They look like they're.
Where'd they go?
Foot apart. They're matching.
Yeah, we just cut across country instead of took the road back and bumped right into them.
How come they're not coming up?
Cody Lynn was shed hunting and found a big one antler on an elk, and then I sent her those today, and she's like, "Gosh, dang!"
Let me try this again here.
She called me some dirty names.
Yeah, I see them.
There we go.
That top one has some good mass, don't it?
Yeah.
I guess they both do.
And they're sitting right next to each other. Found them just like that.
Yeah. Huh. But
Let me see if I can get this. Whose dogs are these trailing here?
Jared's.
Those are mine.
Let's see if I can figure out how to get this.
Where's my cricket? I need my cricket sound.
Well, sorry. I'm kind of slow.
The good thing about a podcast, when I download these podcasts, I trim all the silences out. So it sounds like we're just won't shut up.
But no,
So
we trailed that top ever. And then he went up to the ridge and he made it to a no hunting on the refuge. And I was like, well, I guess we're done for the day.
Well, I got to the trailer at noon, and I'm sitting there, and I forgot I brought an MRE. My cousin brought me some MRE, so I was eating a jalapeno beef patty MRE. And at noon, someone pulls up, and they have their guns and whatever, and I'm sitting I have my mule loaded in the 2-horse, and she likes to ride backwards. She'll ride backwards and stick her head out the back door. So I have a door open, and I'm sitting in the door with her, and she's like above me. And I have $5 That other picture is his pup, the red nose.
Oh, with the. Okay, it's a dog with its where's it at? With its nose rubbed red. Yeah, I had dogs with. They leave those little spots of blood on the rocks where they're smelling the rocks down through there.
Yep.
Cool stuff. It's that time of year. We're going to expect some good video from you guys.
If I could catch a break and not trail forever.
Well, yeah, if I could.
That'd be great.
I don't need to catch a break. I need to catch a lion.
Mm-hmm.
In a good spot, someplace where you could sit there. I mean, this is just me. I carry a drone with me. I want to get one in a good spot where the dogs are safe and everything, and you could fly that drone around and get some really cool video. But I haven't got one in a good spot. There's on the ground or in a cave hole or out on a ledge where you kind of hollering at dogs trying to keep them off from falling off the dang ledge.
Yep.
But soon.
Too worried about everything else as I'm trying to.
I get excited. I get excited, and I don't film very good either. That one in the cave, I should have. Looking back on it, I did buy a big long selfie stick after that. But you know how the dogs are. You get there when you get there and you get to look, and the dogs all get tough, and they want to go help you, and so you're trying to kick dogs back. And
yeah, look what I can do, Dad.
Yeah.
You can use drones in New Mexico.
For what?
You're not allowed to use them at all in Arizona.
You can't even fly them around to take video?
No, Nevada you can't. Nevada, because we asked the game warden, even if the lion's in the tree caught, he has to be dead before we can fly the drone.
That's...
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Just read into it before you self-incriminate yourself.
Brett don't care. Outlaw.
I'll tell them why.
They're all going to be there with everybody's drones. How often?
Then I'll tell them, well, I left the lion alive. What difference does it make? I took some good video of him.
I had those people that came in at noon said, I said, what are you guys doing here? And he said, oh, we're deer hunting. And they came in at noon. It was almost like 85 degrees, and they were going to go sit in their blind they had set up over there. And it's a 2-mile walk to that water. And he said, oh, we called about. I said, well, I was just over here lion hunting. He says, oh, they said this unit was closed. And I checked it when I left, and I'm like, I don't know who told you it was closed, but there ain't no units closed in Arizona right now.
No, everything's wide open.
Mm-hmm.
That snow a week ago didn't last very long.
It didn't help those guys much, did it?
There's a few people who caught.
Yeah, there's some kids down on the Blue that caught a couple.
Yeah. Yep.
Didn't northern New Mexico get hammered with like feet of snow?
Yeah. Yeah, up past northwest of Las Vegas, New Mexico, they got 3 feet.
Jeez.
I know Greens Peak, my buddy said they had 16, 20 inches up there in Greens Peak. And it's supposed to snow again, I guess, end of this week.
But, I mean...
Your snow already melted.
Yeah.
Didn't it, Chris? Your snow already melted?
It melted by me, yeah. Vernon and all these little areas. So
I was there yesterday, and I was surprised.
That snow, I mean, it really only... I mean, believe me, I don't live in an area where you can hunt snow very often. But that snow only helps if you have a good road system, right?
Yeah, and you get those big drifts.
How you hunt it. If you're willing to get out there and hunt, you can walk those ridges and still find tracks. But yeah, I mean, if you're hunting snow, roads really help because you can cover more ground.
Well, how far can you? I mean, you walk one ridge, you waste a whole day, right? If there's not been a lion went down.
And you're walking in snow is 10 times worse than walking up a canyon with boulders. I'm gonna tell you that. There ain't nothing that's gonna cramp up your hams quicker than 2 foot of snow.
Jeez.
But like,
how is that even possible? My mule has never ever complained like that.
Yeah.
Like where Rowdy and I hunted in Nevada, we don't get hit deep snow up there. You know, if
Not usually.
it might be up to your shin, if that.
But you get snow and the snow stays. I mean, it'll stay for quite a while.
No,
It don't.
no.
Two
So
days.
you'll have 2 solid good days of snow hunting, and then after that, it's nothing but north-facing ridges. We'll have
Yeah,
snow.
and if the road travels on that north facing slope, now you're traveling that crusted snow, and you got to bust a trail, and it's just
It's
hard
got a
as heck on the
snowmobile.
truck.
Snowmobile.
Well,
Snow.
if
Those guys
then
use
you're under the
snowmobiles,
snowmobile on
and
top.
and you don't need a road. You can cut straight across country in snowmobile.
Well,
You don't have
Well,
to stay
there's
on the
not enough
road.
snow for a snowmobile. It's like
Yeah.
you're running on 3-4
Yeah,
inches
yeah.
of snow, and then it's patchy, and it's so crusted that a lion
Yeah.
can walk on top, and all you see is just like a sheen, and you might be able to identify
of
a
his
track
foot,
in the
a frozen
sheen.
mark.
How do the dogs trail on
Yeah,
that?
Cut their feet up.
they pretty much
Not good.
don't.
They don't, because it's already been melted out. I mean, I know
Yeah,
when
it's
I
like
was
they're walking on ice.
up there at camp. I mean, we got some snow up there, but usually the snow. I always said the snow was melting the time it hit. And
Yep,
although
that's essentially it.
a lot of times, I could see the track and everything, but dogs, it was melting out, and it melted everything out of it. You couldn't do any good with it.
That's 80% of the 80% of the snow hunting. You got to catch it on that short end, right at first light, and then you could probably catch it. But most of the time, it's going to hit 40, 45 degrees during the day, and it melts off.
And that
I'm
frozen
gonna
snow,
agree with
that would
that.
tear a dog's foot up.
Yeah,
Oh, it's
Horrible.
but what you do is you get out of the truck. You just throw the truck away, and your dogs make a lose on that melted, dry facing slope, and you got water running down at everything. Grab your dogs and get them back down on the north facing slope in the canyon bottom, where you can find the track, and they'll trail it and they'll lose it again on the south facing slopes. Grab them again, jump them back down into the next canyon, hop the canyon, and they can start. I've done it.
Well, shit,
And
I'm
it
tired
takes
by
all
then.
day.
Yeah, just
Oh, yeah.
someone who
No,
walks
because you're talking
18,000
half mile
miles.
up over the ridge.
And you mean when you get into that, that's where that lion turned his scent off.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, don't. If you ask some people down in Young, you don't turn their sin off.
They don't
Okay.
turn their scent off. That's just stupid.
but it's
People get all
another thing.
get their panties up their butt because somebody says that. And then we even said in our deal, well, I think it was just a way for the old timers a simple explanation for conditions or whatever happened, or whatever it is. The
Agreed.
lion goes to sneak in, or he does whatever. It changes. There's no doubt about it. Or he gets a spot that for some reason, because of conditions, it doesn't hold scent very well. But
Yep.
the easy thing to say is, well, that lion turned his scent off. I mean, that's just a simple explanation. But people get all, like I said, they get their panties in their butt. And
Yep.
Well,
And you know how when you call for a dog and you point at the ground and say the track's right here, it's right here,
yeah,
and some dogs are idiots about it and just start sniffing everywhere besides right where you're pointing.
It drives me nuts.
If in the snow, in those shitty conditions where you got the south facing slopes burn off and the canyons still have snow in them, the bottoms, it really helps there. Because then they actually do put their nose in it.
they right there. I had a really, really good lion hunter, old time guy, tell me, don't ever hiss your dog on a track. Don't ever do that. That's what he told me.
Help them?
He said, don't hiss him on a track. That's what he told me. Now I'm just
take
repeating
him
what
to
I
the
was
track?
told.
I could.
This was
see
Orville
that
Fletcher.
because,
This was Orville Fletcher. He was kind of he was a hard ass.
I believe it
Orville
because
hissed enough just to people. He didn't need his dogs hissed.
No, I hunted with him for a few days, and he was pissed at me the whole time.
he was hissing at you.
Get out, get out. Get out. Go see if that's a track right there. See if that's a track. And I wanted to make it a track so bad. Finally, he stuck his head out the window. Either it is or it isn't. Yes, sir, it's not.
you know.
Whether
And
it
I
is or
think when
not,
you
you're
don't,
getting him back in the truck.
I'm as bad as those dogs. I try to make a lot of things into line tracks.
Yeah.
I get
Until
trashy.
you find a lion track, you're like, yep,
yeah,
that's a
There it
lion.
is. There it is. It's like watching those
yeah,
dogs trail. You can watch them trail a fox or whatever, and man, you want it to be right. So you give them the benefit of the doubt, and it's what we were talking about before, Chris. But when you see them hit that lion track and the intensity on the lion track and the way they move it and everything, you know it. I mean, you just know it right away. That's a lion track. They're trailing a lion. I mean,
And
there's
then
no
they
doubt
open
about it.
up like they're going to catch it. And you're like, I'm going to go over this ridge and they're going to be caught. And I didn't. I went around the ridge, went up a canyon, said, man, them sons of bitches are still 0.69 miles away from me. And I'm trying to go up. I had to walk my mule up a ridge all the way up this canyon. It just kept turning and turning, and it opened up and opened up. I'm like, man, I knew I was going to get to the end of that ridge and have to turn around and come back. But I ended up going up and over. But it wasn't on her back. It was dragging her through. Little tiny trail. There was 6 to 8 inch trails. I was like skirting around boulders and side of mountains trying to get up it. I don't like going back. I hate going back.
Yeah.
You know, and I turned on my tracker on my Garmin and I did 8 miles on a circle.
I also had an old timer tell me that said if you can just barely keep up with them at a hard walk, at a fast walk, that's a good track. You got a good chance of catching that lion. Now, your dogs look like you had to hit a hard jog to keep up with them.
Oh, well, I was in a crap spot. And then they got down into that sand washes and creosote.
And it changed.
Greasewood. And choya, my favorite. Love choya.
why didn't you go to up by Globe?
Because I have stuff to do down here, and if I would have stopped in Globe, I may not have made it down here. Trust me, I was coming down Sunday, and I said, man, I should just stay the night here and then come in the morning, get up, hunt in the morning. But I'm real bad about not making it where I need to go if I have my dogs and mule.
Yep.
I was being a responsible adult, Jared. Quit. Next
Isn't that
time,
the
I'm
pits?
going to do it, and I'm going to tell my wife and everybody's relying. Jared made me do it.
I'm not even paying attention to the
There you
trap,
go.
the chat here.
My
Hey,
wife was mad at me all day yesterday. I didn't go hunting yesterday because all my dogs, I hunted everyone that day.
Mm.
On Sunday or Saturday when we went from sun up to sundown. And I woke up, I loaded dogs up, and I'm like, man, you guys are acting tired. I had one dog packing a leg.
There you guys go.
And
Answer this guy's. Give him some tips.
Well, how old is the dog? I see I'm having a hard time getting the dog to tree and makes every race, just won't tree. Any tips? Is there something below it, or is that just what over Benny's shoulder?
That's it. No, that's it.
He's a running walker.
what's he? Is he? If he's
Oh.
running coons, just tie the dog back and shoot the coon out to it.
Yeah,
let him chew on
what's he
some
running?
game.
What's the breeding of his dog? Is it a running walker? Is it a tree
Who's that?
walker?
Where's that
Like,
at? I didn't see that.
is it a black and tan?
Is that up high?
I had a black and tan pup. It never treed. If that line wasn't on a ledge, it wouldn't treat.
Do a pay-per-view, Benny versus Knucklehead, bare knuckle. I'd pay to see
I
that.
like it. I'd pay $10 to watch that.
I would too, in a heartbeat.
But
Watch Benny make someone bleed.
you could turn that dog loose on some monkeys down here and watch them jump from tree to tree.
What about this, guys? Seems like if you let the sun hit those tracks on top of the ice, they will trail better. I thought it evaporated
Yeah.
it, but
The
I never had
conditions.
good
It
luck.
depends on the conditions. If it's if it's going to be 45 degrees, that track's melting out and it's turning to water. If it's going to be 30 degrees and the sun hits it, that's really nice tracking.
1.5 years old. That dog's 1.5 years old.
Jump some stuff out for it.
We have a problem
Yeah,
here
it's a
in Virginia
puppy.
a lot of times.
Is he just being a puppy? Is he playing around at the tree, like messing around? Because my Halado dog, same thing. he didn't really. He just kind of bark at other dogs, and then it did take a bear to hit the ground that he realized, oh crap, I need to bark at that and chew on it.
I caught a big old tom, and that was back when I roped quite a bit. And I was on that red roan mare, and I was coming back, and I had that hide. Speaking of keeping the hide good, and there was a roping going on. Lights were on in the arena and everything. I stopped and roped till like 2:00 in the morning. Got home, threw that hide in the garage. Got up late the next day, about 10:00, and it was hot in that garage. I wanted to have him done, and I took him to the taxidermist, and they called me back and said, we can't do nothing with this. It was terrible. Yeah, I was slipping bad.
Yeah, so
I didn't even win any money at the roping.
Oh, that's a good or horrible weekend.
That was terrible.
You drank some beer though, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Back in those days, I could suck down the suds.
That would be the 10:00 wake up.
I could suck down some suds back then.
Yeah. So as far as hides, what I've always done, even with my deer hides and stuff, what I do is I'll just make sure that when I skin them out, I take off as much of the meat and fat as I can, and then I'll hang them up and dry overnight, cool off real good, and then before daylight, if I'm going out hunting again or whatever I'm doing, before the sun hits it, I take that sucker and I fold it hide to hide and I roll it up tight and I cover it up. If it's going to be something where I'm going to be out there a while, I'll take a couple pounds of salt and I'll just cover it up in salt.
Yeah.
And then I'll take and roll it hide to hide, and I'll roll it up in a roll. But I always set it so that the open side of the hide is down.
So it'll drain?
Any moisture that salt, it drains right out.
That's a good idea.
I always try to keep it. I try to keep it insulated, keep it on the shady side of the trailer, wherever I'm staying, keep it on the shady side, and I cover it up so that it doesn't get hot.
That's good. Good tips right there, guys. And we're not even charging anything for it.
No. And it's only been an hour.
And Google, time I get this on Google AdSense, it'll pay me probably about $1.85.
There you go.
And then I'll have to split
5 ways.
I'll split it 5 ways.
30 cents piece.
Oh, well, I will. Now, this is mainly for my other channel, but I tell you what, these people are really, really good. Let me see if I can find it. I really like them. And they're good to me. Believe me, they're good to me.
Not like buying a dog box?
No, them people, that old South dog boxes, they're a bunch of pricks. OnX Hunt, though, those people are good to me. And I love their product, too. I mean, I'm sure all you guys use OnX, too.
Oh, yeah. Use it today.
I use the shit out of it.
Yeah, it's a great product. Great product. I know.
I use it for hunting, everything.
I use it. Yeah. I use it for my PI business.
Oh, really?
Find out who owns somewhere or a spot and dig up all the dirt.
When you're trailing a lion and using OnX, just save every interval or how many long distance intervals, save his track on where he walks. And then when you make a lose, next time you trail him, you can jump ahead a half a mile or so.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you can skip?
Yeah, if you can kind of guess where he's going, because you're like, hey, man, I've trailed this Tom like 6 times and he's gone this way, and, he saved the pins or whatever.
Yeah, and Olight, the flashlights and the headlamps. And if you use that code, B100YTL, I think you get 20% off. And then they give me a little kickback from it.
Wasn't that a Olight that I used down there at the Taylor place?
That's the one I gave you, huh?
Yeah.
It was a good one, wasn't it?
Scabbard?
Yep. They're amazing lights, really. Of course, I don't really have anything to compare it to because, like I said in my videos, I always just go down and buy those cheap lights at Walmart or whatever, Kmart back in the day.
I'm a big fan of those Energizer headlamps. I mean, they put off that yellow-orange light, but shoot, they last,
really
2-3 nights.
This last
on
one,
a couple of AAAs.
I don't have it in here. This last one that Olight sent me, it's a headlamp, but it's a flashlight, a right angle, I guess is what you call it, flashlight. And you know, it works as a headlamp, but then you can pop it off and use it as a flashlight. It's pretty handy.
Oh shoot!
Pretty handy.
A rechargeable Bushnell headlamp, and I had it for a while, and then I lost it for a year. I couldn't find it. Thought I put it somewhere, and it's rechargeable. The thing's bright, lasts for days and days and days. We went out to my brother's I do a little thing for my brother that passed away over at Greens Peak area, and we were packing up. A year later, we packing up. I found the flashlight on my dash or something. And where did this come from? Oh, the kids found it over by a tree.
Oh shoot!
It was my flashlight, and I turned it on, and it came on. A year later.
I'll be dang. That's
in
pretty
the rain,
cool.
everything. So it's a nice little flashlight. It has a little rechargeable battery in it. So I like it. Bushnell.
My wife got me one. I need to figure out what brand it is, but that sucker, it's got an adjustable top on it, and it runs off of I don't even know what it's that. It's about a 2.5 inch long battery. It's about as big around your finger.
Oh, 3.5 volt.
Yeah, it's one of those weird rechargeable ones.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my line hunting light. And then I put it in my pack during deer season last fall. Couldn't find it. I come break out my pack deer season this year. I find it. I'm like, where the heck? I thought I dropped it while line hunting last winter, and still fully charged. I'm pretty happy with that sucker, but it doesn't have a name on it, and it may be a Olight. I don't know, but I need to go find it again, and I'll send you guys a picture of it. But that sucker, it is incredibly bright, and then you can adjust it. When you tighten it down, I think it's like one of the lights that you had, Brett, that it makes a square whenever it's a beam.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you open it up, it comes into a big, nice, good, solid floodlight.
They've sent me two. I got one that's real bright. I don't even know what it is, and then the one that Benny used. But I tell you what, they're good to me, and they've sent me 3 or 4 checks from guys who watch my videos that have bought lights, and of course I appreciate all the help. And then I don't know where they're at. I don't know where they're located, China or wherever. But that lady that I correspond with on the email, she is good to me, because I told her, I said, I need a good headlamp. She said, man, you're one of our partners. Let us send you one. Never hesitated, never, nothing. Sent it to me like that, instead of like that dog box company when I said something to them. They said, well, we put you at the end of the line. I said, you put me at the end of the line? What? Now, why would somebody want bad publicity like that?
Yeah.
And didn't even never, I'm sorry, never, I said, man, I'll be 63 years old this year. I lost one whole winter where I wanted to use that dog box and go someplace. So we put you at the end of the line.
Houndsmen guy?
I don't know.
He's trying to get us a starting account, and then he's trying to say Blood Origins is the only group I see as hound representation on the biggest platform for political and social development.
What's the biggest? Tell us who's the biggest platform for political and social development.
Blood Origins.
Blood Origins gets like 8 views a video.
Well, what are you talking about? What platform are you talking about? And he said, it's like trying to, guys ever think about X Live Spaces? Everyone can talk. Best place to push a point. Start an account. Everybody can talk here. I don't know what he's talking about.
I can't. My mic's been silenced.
I haven't silenced your mic. I can, though.
Blood Origins, Colorado, and New Mexico. Only groups I see as hound representation on the biggest platform for political. What's the biggest platform?
What's he calling the biggest
platform?
X
Live?
Maybe it's this X, this whatever.
Is that what
guys
about?
Ever think about X Live? Oh, is that like the Twitter Live?
Yeah.
Slice
Oh,
faces.
X.
Everyone can
X.
talk. Best place to push a point. Me and Twitter just don't get along. Or X, whatever.
I don't do Instagram hardly. I got Instagram and I'm just not like I don't remember that stuff. Maybe I'm not a very good political representation and political and social development. We get on here and we talk whatever we want to talk, and anybody can say what they want to say, and we'll tell you you're wrong because we're always right.
I tell you, the biggest problem is, I mean, we get on here and we talk, and I mean, we all are houndsmen and we all hunt. So what we're doing is we're preaching to the choir. We don't have people from the outside that don't have no interest in hounds or houndsmen really getting on and saying, and listening and see what it's really all about. And that's what happens. I mean, and then
go ahead. When you have a nonprofit or a C3, you as a nonprofit C3, I think you're really allowed to say vote on 127. You're not allowed to do that. You have to say you can state facts.
You can't push an agenda.
No, you can post videos about it, pros and cons, but you can't say. Now a C4 you can, but a C3 you can't. So there's big. So even when you're on X or even on this, like once I get the AWDA, I wouldn't say, hey, AWDA says to do this.
If I made this into a C3 for nonprofit, I wouldn't get my $1.85.
Right.
Well, you can get it, but you can't say vote yes or no.
Oh, I could still make a little bit of money at it.
Oh yeah, you can make money at it because
organize the CC so that you would be a employee of it, not the owner. Or I'm not exactly sure how that works, but you couldn't keep any money from it unless you were drawing a pay from it, as it'd have to be, documented of what your pay is.
Well, those guys get paid. I mean, they don't do it for nothing.
Yeah, look at Wayne Purcell. He made $4 million.
Yeah, they just figure out a way to get around it, and it sounds good because it's a nonprofit. Hell, I was in the construction business for 30 years, and most of the time we were nonprofit. So, not on purpose.
I don't think that's the same.
Well, it wasn't on purpose. I think I'm a little grumpy tonight. I don't know why.
Have you had a Snickers?
No, I haven't. What else do we got?
Can we pick it? Going snow hunting this year?
Like Res Hounds, he caught a big nice tom in the snow, and I commented on it or something. He said, "Yeah, but it was in the snow." I said, "Man, there ain't nothing wrong with that." I mean, believe me, if it snowed here tomorrow, I don't know if I'd be on my mule, but we got enough roads around here. I would be out on my buggy busting these roads looking for a snow track. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I'm the same way. If there's favorable conditions, I'm gonna go hunt. Just
heck yeah.
Right now, I've been swamped. This year, I've been so swamped. I've only gotten out like 3 times since summer, ended. I've got my dog kennels I got to finish. I've been working a snot ton of overtime.
What do you do, Rowdy?
I'm a fireman.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I work 3 day on, 4 day off, but usually what I do is I pick up, I try to do, we call it a 96, so 4 days of overtime. So I try to pick up a 96 a month, but this year we have a lot of people that are new that are filling the overtime. So what they do is instead of giving you a 96 block, so you work 10 days straight, they give you 1 or 2 of those days that you applied for in that 4 day period, and then 1 or 2 days of the next next week, and 1 or 2 days of the next week. So it just ruins a whole, 3 weeks instead of giving you just 4 days in a row.
Big old block of time. What, Jared? All you do is guide hunters, or what do you do?
No, I lay asphalt.
Oh, that's a tough job right there.
She's in the shower.
Parking lots and stuff like that, or everything?
Your mom's in the shower.
We haven't done a lot of parking lots lately. Main thing we do is
Oh, you're
roads,
telling me they're
residential roads.
oh my goodness, why don't you go sit on the couch and
Not
watch
a lot
TV?
of not a lot of freeways or anything like that, but
Is that down in Tucson?
TV's not
yeah,
on?
That's a tough job in the
Okay.
summertime.
not
I'll
fun.
be right back. I gotta go
No.
check the kids' TV.
It is. You want to talk about miserable?
Oh,
Drive down
geez.
the road in an open cab backhoe with a bucket full of asphalt.
I've done it.
110.
We used to do our own
That's-
patching. You know,
That makes you want to throw up.
yeah, we used to do our own patching. We had a contract back in the 80s for the city of Las Cruces, and we would do these bell holes. We were doing cathodic protection. We were working on the gas lines, and we'd do bell holes to install anodes or bond dressers, whatever. And then we'd come back and put the base course in, compact it, get a compaction test, and then patch it, haul in asphalt, and
Yeah.
rake it out and roll it. It was miserable too.
I hate asphalt.
Pays the bills though.
Most of the time, it does. Most of the time, I don't have to touch it. I'm just on the dirt crew.
You're on the what?
Dirt crew.
Putting in base course and stuff.
Yeah, a lot of I can't even say dirt crew because it's not that hard of operating. It's mill and fills. So I'm behind the mill, chasing the mill with the mill will mill up everything. The blade will run up and down, make the windrow, and then I'll come in the loader and pick up the windrows.
Gotcha. And then does that go back to the asphalt plant?
Yeah. Yep. Loading trucks out, and I don't know where they send them, but yeah. Most of the time I don't have, unless someone calls in sick, and then I gotta go on the asphalt crew, and I'm mad the rest of the day.
If I ever paid to go on a guided lion hunt, which I'll never do, it would be dry ground. That's just me. I just love to go out and put my dogs on the ground and get on my mule and ride big circles and see how, see what they do, see how they react, try to cut a track, try to go places where you might cut a track and then see what happens, see what dogs do what. That's, to me, that's what it's all about.
What I tell guys is, they always ask about the success rate, and I give it to them. But then I also tell them, I'm like, if you really want to just kill a lion, I tell them, go to Idaho, go to Montana.
Yeah.
If you want to see dogs work, and I tell them, I'm like, you're going to get sick and tired of hearing dogs bark. But if you want to see an actual hunt where the cat walks, how he walks, where he goes, do a dry ground hunt. If you just want to kill one, go hunt the snow.
Yeah.
Because, you hear dogs bark for a minute, and then you don't hear them again until they retreat.
And then you're looking at your tracker trying to figure out how to get to them.
Yep. And I'm not knocking it. I mean, shoot. I guided in the snow in Nevada.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't knock it. Any form of lion hunting there's guys in Texas that have, tons of cell phone cameras. I mean, lots of cell phone cameras. And they have good dogs, too. And they catch a lot of lions. Of course, they're illegal here.
Man, I miss those cell phone cameras because we ran them in Nevada. And you want to talk about a dog training tool.
You know exactly how old the track is. Most of the time, you know exactly which direction he's going. I mean, everything. It's quite a tool.
Yeah, and like where me and Rowdy hunted, and we both lived in Fallon, the closest place to set up one of those cameras was a 3-hour drive.
Yeah.
Even now?
Yeah. I mean, by the time we get to where we have phone service, have a natural walking path, a pathway, a corridor, or a scratch, or whatever that we put that camera on. By the time we load up dogs, take off, get there, park the truck, and hike to that camera. It's about 2.5, 3 hours before we even get there.
Wow.
That's if you're in the situation where you can actually just stop what you're doing, load up, and leave. If you know, I have 2 of those cameras, and I tried them last year. It almost 99% of the time, I was at work because I work out of state, so I commute 3 hours, 4 hours to work just to get to the area that I work in. Depending on what station I'm working at that week, I could be 5 hours, and I can't just leave. So it's 3 days, 4 days,
And it just
7
frustrates
days.
you looking at
Yeah,
that lion walk by and can't get to him.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean,
It
it's
turns
cool.
you.
You get to see a lion went through, but I mean, the possibility of actually getting a trail in is super slim. I know. And then we can only use a camera 6 months out of the year. So
Yep. It turns you into a crackhead.
When I first got my stuff to go and do these interviews with these guys, I bought that Zoom recorder and all that stuff, and I got my wife and my niece. I said, let's set it up, and I said, you guys can interview me, and they were asking me, we were testing it all out, and I was messing with. I might post that interview, I don't know, but my wife asked me, said, well, what do you think? What situation would be the best to be a successful dry ground lion hunter? And I looked at her and I said, being single.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
You don't have no job, being single, because I mean, to be real successful and be good, it's how much time you spend out there making big circles, pounding the ground.
Absolutely agree.
Sunday, me and the old lady got into it. I was working on the house, and I was mad because I wasn't lion hunting. I had to get some stuff done around the house, and I was like, I was cussing the house out. This house is, piece of, blah, blah, blah. My wife got sick of hearing it. She's like, fine, we're selling it. Let's just live out of your pickup. You've done it before.
Look at that. Now she turned off his phone. Look at that.
The same with your
But
wife, though.
I miss living out of my truck and just hunting.
Yeah.
That was fun. Because all I'd just do day work for ranchers to buy dog food and diesel. And then if I didn't have anything going on that week, I'd just park in the bottom of a canyon and hunt it all week.
Do you have some pretty good places to hunt?
Yeah, I did okay.
I bet.
When I first started,
We lost. Who'd we lose? We lost Benny. Whoop. Now I lost everybody except Chris. Are you there, Chris? Something's going on. Now I lost Chris. I'm losing everybody.
What happened?
I don't know. A little glitch in the system, I guess.
Huh.
Little glitch in the system. I don't know. Is everybody here?
Except for Rowdy.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. It just everybody froze up. I thought it was something I said. I don't know if that.
Ben, how old were you when you got dogs?
What?
How
Benny?
old was Benny when he got dogs?
3 years old.
Oh. I think I got my first dogs when I was 19, 20, somewhere around there. And I chased everything except what I needed to chase. And I went with 4 and 5 guys chasing raccoons, and we caught everything but raccoons.
Yep.
And the time I went by myself and my dogs, we caught raccoons. And I thought, there's got to be something to this going alone.
Yep. I remember my first lion track. I had a 1.5-year-old dog I bought from out of Washington. didn't know what I was doing. The old timers just told me to hunt. Go beat leather boots down and just find a lion track in the snow. So I find this lion track in the snow. I unleash the dog. He goes, he's trailing. All of a sudden I see a herd of deer bust out and start running, and I see his head snap up and turn, and I lost him for 6 hours. He went off chasing those deer forever. That was my first lion track.
Trying to remember. Well, I caught a lion with my stag hounds a long time ago. And then I caught
him. David Heiss coyote hunting.
Yeah. And then
that's
David Heiss brought
video.
that VHS.
To what?
That was a VHS.
Yeah, I videoed that. I tell the story on that. Matter of fact, on that interview, I told my wife. You remember Dave Carlson there, and he used to do those video report. I was always kind of fascinated with video, and I told my wife, I said, go get me one of those little cheap video cameras from Walmart. And she went and got me one. I went out the day I got it. I went out that afternoon and started videoing, pretending I was some kind of TV guy, videoing my stag hounds. I was sure I was going to catch a coyote, but I ended up catching that lion. And I made that tape. I sent it to everybody.
Go get a bottle of water.
Then
did they stretch him or did you finish him?
I shot him. They would have killed him. That big Appaloosa dog I had would have killed him. It was a little lion, but he had it by the throat. He might have lost an eyeball or something or an ear. But those dogs, they knew how to fight. I mean, they knew how to kill. They'd been on lots and lots of coyotes. And when they grabbed a hold of something, that big old Appaloosa dog just went for the throat and just grabbed the throat. And then once he got a hold of it, he wouldn't let go. And then the other dogs, they stretch them. They just make it hard on them. But I got off, and I had a little .22 pistol, and I shot that lion in the head. And
there you go.
I was happy, though, man. It was just like something. I was shocked. And then I went with a buddy of mine. Matter of fact, he had a dog that he got from Rick Dickerson, and we caught a big tom up there in a cave hole, or not. It was really just a crack, and but we trailed. I stayed with that dog up on the mountain while he went down to get his tracker. And I stayed with that dog up on the mountain and watched her trail that lion. And I mean, it taught me a lot just being right there, because this was a real fresh lion track, and they still trailed it pretty slow. I mean, this one dog trailed it, and we just went with it. And the dogs never did locate it. I located the lion just because it hissed at me when I walked by its crack. And
oh, shoot.
Yeah, it was fairly open country, and I was looking off the edge, and they got up there, and I said, man, we ought to be able to see this lion. He's not far in front of us. We ought to be able to see where he went or something. I got down and started busting through the bluffs and everything. And I was walking down below, and I heard and I looked up, and that lion was just like right there above me. And he was a big old nice tom. But it's kind of fun. It hooked me bad. I thought, man, this is fun. But he had a good dog, and then was pretty trash broke and everything.
William, the internet's bad tonight because everybody's home for Veterans Day. Probably all on the internet.
My first female right here, or my first cat was this little female.
That's nice.
There you go.
We use it as a throw on the bed now. I'd been hunting 2 years. Finally cut a fresh track in the snow, beating the bejeebus out of my little pickup. And she was chasing a herd of deer across the road. And I mean, I was 5, maybe 10 minutes behind her. And it took the dogs half an hour to get her trailed up and treed, but it happened. And I came in there so slow, afraid to bump her out of the tree. And I was just shaking like a leaf. Just, oh my gosh, it's a lion.
How about bears? Did y'all ever run bears, Rowdy or Jared?
Yeah. My first bear was pretty bad. So my buddy calls me, and he's like, hey, dude, can you help me catch this bear? he had an uncle or someone with him. And I'm like, yeah, I'll be there tomorrow. So I meet him at the road. I jump in, load up dogs in his truck, and we start going. And his uncle is glassing this big old basin, and he sees this bear. And mind you, he's been hunting for 3 days now, and my buddy's dog has gotten whooped by bears every day. They've trailed one every day. They just can't stop one. And he glasses this bear up, and they're all talking about it, and the sun's up, and I'm like, the bear's 400 yards away. And I was like, we gonna turn dogs loose, hike down there, turn dogs loose? What are we doing? And he looked at me and said, can you even catch it? And I got mad. So I just dumped the whole box and I yelled at everyone. We went down there, and no one came with me. I grabbed all the dogs and no one came with me. And the dogs blow up, start pushing that bear up the mountain, and they go to cut that bear off at the road, and that bear turns around and runs downhill and bays up with the dogs like 50 yards from me. So in this quakey thicket, and I'm sitting there and I'm beating this bear with, I don't have a gun, I'm beating this bear with a dead aspen tree. And I got like 6 or 8 dogs fighting this bear. And all of a sudden I see Sitka Camo walking through the willows and the quakies at me. And I yell at the dogs and I yell at the guy, I'm all, plug that son of a gun. Boom. And I yell again, boom. And the bear takes off running. He gut shot it twice. And we get out of that quakey thicket, and I look at the guy and I'm like, who are you? And he's all, I was putting a stock on that bear when your dogs ran by me and your puppy stopped and was hanging out with me, and I was just returning your puppy to you. And I was like, oh man, I screwed up. My buddy gets on the radio and he's like, are you shooting that effing bear? And I'm all, no, I don't know. I was like, I'll have to get up to the road and explain what happened. And we get up to the road and I'm like, he shot the bear. I thought it was your uncle. He shot it. Sorry. And then we went up and finished the bear off about 5 minutes later. But that was a real awkward rest of the day. After we all took the trophy shot with the bear and everything. But yeah, his uncle didn't talk to me the rest of the day. That was a real awkward.
Benny, you can tell your story. The statute of limitations has already ran out. So,
I was looking at that. I don't know how to answer that because I hunted with a bunch of different people for a long time. I didn't hunt completely by myself until I moved to New Mexico 35 years ago. And I always had dogs. When I hunted with George Goswick and Scott Derringer, I had dogs. Rick Dickerson and I hunted, and I had dogs. And I don't think I ever took dogs when I went hunting with Don Pock, but I was in my 20s. But I had dogs. I thinned down when I moved to New Mexico 35 years ago. I thinned down to my 3 best dogs, and then I didn't have time to hunt, and so I gave them away. And then somewhere, I don't know how many years went by, and I got to itching pretty bad. And there was somebody lost a walker dog on the river coon hunting, and I picked it up and fed it for 3 or 4 days till I found the owner, and the itch had set in again. So I got some pups out of Arizona and sent them over, took them back to Arizona, and some guys started training them for me, and then I got them back and bought dogs from Dickerson and other places, young dogs, and went full bore.
I was
I
hunting with
do know
Scotty
that
down.
when I tried going by myself a time or two, I screwed my dogs up. I didn't trust my dogs. And so that's why when I've tried to help people doing it and I tell them spend the money once and buy one good dog, and just hunt that dog with 1 or 2 pups and stay out of the way. Learn how to do this deal, because I had good dogs and I screwed them up all the time because I was an imbecile.
I think most of
I
us
think
start
we've
out
all
that
messed
way.
up a
So the
couple
question,
dogs there, Benny.
What's that?
the question.
I was just saying,
Go
I
ahead,
think
Rod.
we've all messed up dogs. You know, when we first start out, we don't know if we want to trust them. We don't know, you know, it. We we just don't know, and we say hi, Brookie.
Hi.
Okay, okay, boy. You got the
Who
boo boo.
says that?
Oh, here comes the jealousy.
Yeah.
Randy says Rowdy looks like a younger version of me. Here, can you see this? Let's see.
If I can look like you when I'm retired,
That's
Benny, I'll
me
be
right
happy.
That's me right there when I was 26.
Let me zoom in on it. Oh, I messed up something. I don't know what I did wrong.
Now you're
Let me
gone.
try to figure it out.
You better grow a bunch of hair on your back.
Here we go.
That's me right here. And this over here at the other end is Richard Dickerson right there.
Boy, why don't you go back and watch your TV? I don't want to hear you whining.
And
I
Dickerson
don't care about your mommy. Go watch TV. You're gonna whine. You
Dickerson had
go
bought
watch TV.
he had bought 2 dogs from George Goswick,
You got a pretty
and then he bought
nose.
another dog from John Clump. And the first dog that he bought from George Goswick was an 8-year-old dog, and that's when Rick really started doing good with lions. Um,
Good.
it's always the same for the people that go out there and spend the money. And George didn't scalp him, that's for sure. He treated him really good on that dog. Um, that first dog was, I can't remember, it was a female. The second dog was a younger dog, Trailer, and Trailer he liked to hunt lions and he liked to hunt uh, javelina, and he had a different bark for javelina than he did for lions. I
You
remember
do.
we were hunting one time, and Trailer took off on some javelina, and we just ignored him because we couldn't get him back. And when Trailer came back, he stood right there around
You're,
us and started
you're
hacking
so
like a
silly.
cat with a hairball, and spit out a javelina's ear. So he had caught the javelina.
Oh, I've
Sure
caught
like
my
that.
share of those dang things. They're hard
Scratch
for
my
those.
back. All
They're
right,
hard
well,
for those
thank you.
dogs to resist.
I want you to just sit down and watch.
We got somebody stealing the show.
Oh, she's just full of personality, huh? Yeah.
She's awfully pretty to be yours there, Rowdy.
Well, she looks like her mom, not me.
There
That's
you go.
why. She's a sweetie too. Huh? Aren't you a sweetheart?
My oldest is 44 years old.
Your oldest?
Yeah.
Man, you're old, Brad.
I started real young too. I was a
I don't
real
blame you.
nice I was a real nice looking young man.
What was it?
My problem is I was a dumb young man.
Well, I wasn't that smart myself.
Brett, you were just eager.
I was
You were
aggressive.
Yeah, what, baby?
Chris is still aggressive.
Your what?
My toothbrush.
Toothbrush?
Yeah,
You got your mic off, Chris.
You want me to bring your toothbrush in here? Oh, thank you, though. Go watch TV.
No sound, Chris. Do I got you muted when you came back? Oh, I muted you. I'm sorry.
That's how we like Chris.
It won't come on. There it is. Say something,
Can you
Chris.
hear me?
Yeah, there you are.
What
Sorry.
I'm saying? Yeah,
Sorry.
I was listening to all the stories.
So, Benny, since it's supposed to be out snow, did you ever hunt the snow?
I did.
I was going to tell I was setting you up to hear you lie to us, but you're coming through. I had a guy tell me he ran into you on a snow road up there and that side of the mountain one time.
Yeah, and he also ran into me at the same time we had a Tom lion in the tree, didn't he?
I can't remember who it was that told me that.
He's a firefighter from Carlsbad. If it's the one in the Guadalupe.
Can't remember. I just know somebody said, "Oh, Benny, I seen him up there, side of the road in snow."
If it was in the Guadalupes, my son and I just decided to take off for a Saturday and go get out, and so we threw some dogs in the pickup. And we'd heard that there was some snow in the Guadalupes that weekend, and we get up there just goofing around, and we find 2 fresh lion tracks. And I thought, well, let's try. And got Derek out of the box because I could point him on the track, and he stuck his nose down in there and sat back like, "Arr," and it was pretty good. And then he ran over to a rock and started licking the rock and sniffing all over it. And I said, no,
what am I supposed to do in this snow?
And so I put my finger down in the next track. Here he goes. Here he is. Here, Derek. And Derek balls again and runs over to a cedar tree and starts sniffing all the branches. And I said, oh, crap. So, and it took about 15, 20 minutes to get my dog lined out where he could start going to those pock marks. And so then I said, well, hey, let Trip out of the box. And Justin let Trip out. And Trip got it lined out. And I said, just turn the whole deal out. And they didn't go 250 yards and had a lion in a tree, but the tree was only 5 feet tall. And I had a dog fight under the tree. I first got there, I thought, hey, they got a lion on the ground and a lion in the tree. Just all the excitement. And I realized it was 2 of my dogs fighting. I told my son, go stomp the hell out of those dogs and make them cut it out. So when he did that, that lion couldn't take it and he bailed out. And then, we were afoot. They go over the ridge, and on top of the next ridge, we could see where they caught the lion. And it was pretty trashed up there on top of that ridge where they were fighting that lion in the dirt and the mud and the snow. They went off in the next canyon and treed that lion, and he went real high that time. And we're looking at that lion, and we didn't know where we were. And here comes a pickup full of guys, and I'm thinking, well, this isn't necessarily good. it was that firefighter, and he looks at me and he says, I thought you didn't hunt the snow. I said, well, only if I'm guaranteed a catch.
You hunted up Capitan and all that area quite a bit too, didn't you, Benny?
I hunted the Capitans a lot.
Okay.
I ended up.
You'll be all right. Just go watch whatever she's watching.
We caught a lion with a rancher over there.
Fine.
We had a lion hunt scheduled, and we got there and it snowed. And I thought, well, crap. And I said, well, let's just jump in your pickup and go drive around and look. And a lion ran across the road in front of us. I was on the phone with Tom White asking about property lines and boundaries and all that. And a lion ran across the road in front of us. And that's when I first discovered that I had health issues. It was December 30th. I remember that. And I couldn't go. It took me forever to get to the tree, and I thought I was going to die. And that's when I discovered that I had my heart problem and I had lung cancer and all of that. But anyway, we killed that lion in the snow. There was another time my son and I were in the Capitans and it had snowed and we were miserable. We ran 4 lions that day and they all 4 disappeared in the same place. And I think I figured it out. They were going to a big tree with, we were going to a big tree with that would, they'd climb up in that big pine tree and jump out on a bluff. And I told my
What's
son,
wrong with
look,
your
I'm
brakes?
miserable and cold. And he said,
Weenie?
yeah, me too. I said, so let's come
You're on
back
my
when
leg.
there's no snow and we'll see if we can figure this deal out. We never went back because the next time I was up there, I had bought
What's
some
that?
dogs, and the
What
dogs
am I
jumped a
eating?
coyote, caused a big
I'm eating dinner.
disaster, and somebody stole 2 of my dogs.
Thank you.
And shit the bed went up there on a Sunday to get my dogs for me,
Good
just
job.
so that I wouldn't go up there and go to prison.
AKA John Kinsler.
Yeah, John Ketzler.
Kitzler.
So I was going to go up there and kill those guys. And John said, hey, why don't you just chill out
Yeah.
and let me go up there first? And so he saved my prison time and those guys' lives.
They say that John is probably one of the handiest guys around with a pistol.
Well, he was a border patrol. He retired from the border patrol and he was an instructor too.
He won all kinds of awards for pistol or whatever accuracy or whatever.
What?
Yeah.
I talked to him not too long ago.
Oh,
Yeah.
where is
I forget what he was telling me.
You know how we got to calling him shit the bed? It was me and Sourdough.
All right, take it to
Because
River.
Sourdough's name is John, and so he'd say, "Well, which John are you talking about?" And Sourdough says, it's you shit the bed." So that's how it happened.
Sound is breaking up. I can't help it. I don't know. Elon Musk is letting me down.
No, Billiam said the same thing, but he rebooted. So it's probably your internet because it's not breaking up on our side. Billiam restarted his computer and he said it started working again. I think it's just the internet in general. Everybody's home.
Oh, probably overpowering it or something. However that works.
Yeah.
Because usually when it's breaking up, we can hear it on our side right here. So who knows? Maybe China's taking over.
I hunted with Tom White and Don Milton one time. I sold Don a dog. And we hunted. It was dry ground, but we just drove roads. Those up there, those roads, the sides of those roads, they blade them, and then that little berm on the side of the road, it holds a track, just like a snow track. And we drove and drove. Then we got down. We walked in a couple places too. But man, it was something.
I hunted with those 2 guys in the snow one time, and I took Trip and Derek, and they found a fresh tom track, and so they dumped out on them, and my dogs took off. But since I didn't go, my dogs weren't keen on hunting with anybody but me or my son. And so we were out driving around, and here comes one of my dogs, and they said, "Well, how come your dog came back?" I said, "Because it's not yours." So anyway, they ended up catching a tom and drove all the way around and parked in some guy's yard in a neighborhood to walk back up there to that lion. And that's when he had Susie. And Susie was starting to take those younger dogs away from that tree and start to backtrack on that trail. And I told him, I said, "Well, why don't you show Susie that lion?" "Well, how am I supposed to do that?" I said, "Shoot that lion in the flank or in the foot or in the tail. Jump him out." And Tom says, "Oh, no, that lion's too valuable. I'll get a hunter and I'll come in here." I said, "That hunter won't know that lion didn't get that in a scrape. Shoot that damn lion out." He was having no part of it.
Yeah, I got to hunt with Tom and Don, and then Tom, he was, when I started, he was well known. He was more well known as a bear hunter. I guess he caught tons of bears up in that country.
Yeah. His son-in-law was really the lion hunter.
That's where I bought.
Not to take anything away from Tom. It's just that was Jeff's passion.
I bought Lily from Jeff.
Yep.
He was going through a divorce, and I had been through a divorce, and I had a soft spot in my heart for
Okay, what do you want
somebody
me to
who is
do?
going through one of those deals. So
Tom was double, triple tough.
She
He
yeah,
won't
was
let you
a
watch White Rider.
he was a logger. I don't remember what state he came from, but he was originally a logger.
Okay, baby.
and then he had
I'm
the
sorry.
asphalt plant or something there in Ruidoso, didn't he?
Yes, he had what was the name of that deal? But yeah, he said his his wife told me a story one time when she was a secretary at church, and one of those guys, one of those asphalt deals comes through, we'll pave your deal for $2,000 and blah blah blah, and those guys that they're kind of like carnies in the asphalt world, and she says, well, that's probably a better deal than we could get anywhere else, but I'd have to check with my husband first. Well, why your husband? Well, because he owns Ruidoso Paving, and they.
I wonder, is Tom still kicking?
Yeah, he's still kicking. I talked to him when Ruidoso flooded out. I called Tom and made sure he was okay.
Good.
Warner Glenn back on a mule yet?
Is he what?
Back on a
I
mule
bet
yet?
he's not. He may not be on a mule yet, but I think he's out there looking at him.
What happened to him?
He got bucked off.
Jeez.
Poked a hole in his aorta and busted him
Oh
up
my
pretty
gosh.
good. He ended up with what was it? Fungus in his lungs. He finally
Oh,
said, "Hey, you better take me to the doctor." So they took him to the hospital, and the hospital looked him over and put him on a helicopter and took him to Tucson.
Hmm.
how long did
90
that
years
happen?
old. Still, it's happened probably a month ago, 3 weeks ago.
Dang.
He's
My
been
dad,
home a couple of weeks, I think.
my dad's 90 and he's still riding. Not like he used
Man, I
to, but he's
sure
still
hope I can
riding.
ride around 75, let alone 90.
Me
Gosh, that's
too.
tough
Me too.
sons of guns.
And they were raised in a different time than us too.
I'll
I
guarantee. And if you go, I'm 5'6", and I got to strike a lope to keep up with him when he's just walking along.
I'm right there with you, Benny. I'm 5'6" too.
I have no idea how tall he is, but that picture of me and Brett and
What are you
Warner
doing?
outside the saddle house, you can
Better
tell
not
I'm not
puke.
near as tall as Warner.
Well, he's what,
Yeah,
6'6" or 6'7"?
he's a big man.
I don't know.
He's a tall sucker. I know that.
See if I can find
Steve
it.
Smith is 6'8".
Steve Smith's a big man.
Wow. I'm jealous
I
as
was doing
snot
an
of that.
accident claim. I used to sell insurance when I was younger on the side, and I was doing an accident claim for this older rancher. He's probably in his mid 70s, I think, late 70s. He got bucked off his horse, and I was like, "Okay, start from where you rode out to when you got to the hospital." And he's like, "I got, he rode out, was checking pastures, got bucked off, walked the horse back to the truck,
What are you doing? Stop it.
loaded the horse, drove home, unsaddled the horse, kicked him out, and then drove to the hospital. And he had his broken pelvis in 2 spots.
Oh gosh, that's a tough sucker right there.
Crazy.
I was hunting with who was there? Me and Missy and Mike Leonard and Cole Studdard, and a stupid colt rolled over on me and rolled across my leg and over the top of a rock and broke my leg. Took an hour and a half to ride back to the pickup. Damn it.
Shit.
I thought I was going to die 250 times on that hour and a half ride. Every little piece of brush hung on that stupid foot on that leg. And we get back to the house, and Missy says, well, we'll get all your gear and put it in your pickup, but you need to go sit down. I'll carry you in the house. I said, I appreciate that, Missy, but how about if you just help me hobble in and it won't strike any holes in my man card? She could pack me too, couldn't she, Brett?
Oh, yeah. I don't think she'd have much of a problem. Let me see.
You know, when I was hunting with, was it Rob Cox over there in Oregon's? His hunting buddy was J.R. Williams. And I never did meet him, Mr. Williams. You did. And
I got to hunt with JR quite a bit.
Yeah. Rob says, oh, JR, he's 63 years old and he gets around like he's 120. And I thought, well, maybe he had a hard time getting there. And in a month and a half, I'll be 65. And I'm thinking, I wonder if JR and me could get along.
JR had like a broken hip or something. He had a problem. He drug a leg. But he came up and hunted with me up on the mountain, and him and I went down, caught some bears down in the burros. He was funny. JR was a character. I really liked being around him. You'd be riding down the trail, and he could sing like a bird, and he'd just break out in a song and sing, and he's just a real happy guy. We treat those bears, and I had that Hoover dog that came from Riley Miller, and he tried to buy him from me. He said, why don't you just sell me that dog? I'd like to have that dog. I said,
He bought a dog somewhere for $3,500, I think is what Rob told me. And they went hunting and jumped a lion, and it went across the highway back to the north. And that was the last time he ever saw that dog, period, ever.
No kidding.
Took it, bought the dog, took it hunting, and that was that.
He lived up there.
On Rob's. Go ahead.
He lived up there at White Signal, and his wife lived down here in Fair Acres. They lived in separate houses.
And that's different than even separate bedrooms, huh?
Yeah, and she was different, I met her. When I say different, here's JR, a houndsman, and this and that, and she was like a real sophisticated lady, Not saying that houndsmen aren't.
Fool the best of them.
Not saying that houndsmen aren't sophisticated, but there you go.
Do you guys remember Ed? Oh man.
Hey, how come I got my damn yapper hold open like that?
Benny, that's the way you always are.
And look, I think Warner is kind of kneeling down just a little bit.
He's squatting so he doesn't look so big compared to us.
So out of place.
He's trying not to make you guys feel bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, when you're around Warner Glenn, you never feel bad. Isn't that right, Chris?
Chris is gone again.
I see him shaking his beard there.
What the heck? I keep trying. It says guest has muted himself. You do this every Monday night, Chris.
Chris, once you with buttons.
It says it right there. The guest has muted himself. Now you're not muted.
I don't know.
Now his lips muted.
I unplugged my mic and plugged it back in.
It's on your end. It's not here.
I'm blaming
Chris,
it on Brad.
You met Warner Glenn.
Oh, I shook his hand, and I felt like I was a better lion hunter just by shaking his hand.
You should spend a day with him.
You probably are.
You should spend a day with him.
Oh, they're all happy people. Mackenzie, Kelly, they're all just happy. Running ragged, and they're still happy. Dealing with people, still happy. Always happy.
Treated us like we were royalty.
Somebody?
Yeah, like we were royalty.
Like we mattered.
Yeah,
just like we mattered. And then throughout the
Brett was about to fight.
You guys want to come back? Come on.
Brett was about to fight a 4-year-old, Olivia, or not Olivia. What's her name?
She was mean to me.
No, it wasn't Olivia. That was Olivia's the 4-year-old that rode Brett's bronc.
Here we got to get back into that again. Since we're going to get into
the
that,
rough
let's say I was thrown from a horse and I never complained about it. That's how tough I am.
It was a good throw too. It was hard enough that threw him right out of his shoe.
Lost my boot and my hat. That son of a gun just cut in two right on the side of the mountain.
Lucky saddle stayed on.
Well, his saddle almost didn't stay on.
Oh, it was a rough ride. I was right in the middle of her for about 2 jumps.
What?
And to Brett's credit, he was really good that he took all that rough edge off of that horse so Olivia could ride him that night.
Yep, she never bucked again.
And I was riding that little paint mare, and
Mommy's gone.
that's what the kids, after I got done, those kids started doing gymkhanas on that paint mare.
There you go. We just went over there to help them is all we did.
And that paint mare says, "I'll do anything you kids want to do if you don't let that fat old guy back on me."
Oh, okay.
Let me see what happens here.
He's in a mountain lion? No. Yeah, it's a mountain lion. See? No, it's not.
Here you go, guys. Let me show you this. People might not have seen this. Come on.
Come here.
Chris,
Come
don't get...
You little sissy.
I was up early.
Don't get weak on us.
Waiting on Brett here again.
Well, you guys can go ahead and talk until I get there.
Oh.
Brett assured me that he's going to go back to editing that interview and we'll come out with a Kelly and Warner interview.
Yeah, I'm going to. Honestly, I was trying to get more sponsors for it. I thought, but I've just about given up in the hound dog world. Everybody's broke. Nobody's got any money, including me.
What else do you need? You got Rowdy and Jared online now. That's a pretty good sponsor.
Yeah, we'll probably get people now since we got these fine-looking lion hunters on here.
Ridge, what's the name of your...
Stuff that she's doing right now.
Yeah.
And a lot of her video stuff that she's doing is inside that tack room.
I should have videoed more of that tack room. It's amazing. And then the museum they have in the house. Mm-hmm. They have a regular museum in there that's amazing.
Yeah.
You can always remember those things after you left.
That's all. When you're making videos, you don't think about it until you're editing.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, he wasn't making videos then. I had to ask permission for him.
Oh, for me to...
I didn't.
Yeah.
Warner asked him. Well, have you got everything? Do you want to make a video or something? And Brett was kind of stammering around.
I was starstruck. I mean, absolutely. I mean, you're sitting there and, like Dale Lee and Ben Lilly and Warner Glenn. I mean, you're sitting there in front of one of your heroes, and you don't know what to say, really.
So I spoke up and I said, oh, absolutely, Warner, he'd love to. We got everything out in the pickup. We'll go get it. And then
at least one of you,
him and Kelly
head on your
him and Kelly
shoulders.
started rearranging, or Kelly and Mackenzie started rearranging the furniture and got it all so that it was all ready to roll.
I'll probably put it out the 1st of December is when I'll put it out.
That's about
And I'll
when
be
it's
looking
time to
forward
go
to
back
that.
down there.
That's cool.
Yeah, we got to talk to we interviewed Warner and of course a lot of things, you kind of ask the same questions as what I was disappointed in myself, and answers that we've all heard before. But then we got to talk to Kelly too, and she was real fun to talk to. So
She seems like she's very descriptive. Like she can not just carry on a conversation, but she gives lots of details too.
yeah, and then we got to talk to her there at that Earn Your Spurs deal too. She sat down and talked to us. That was a lot of fun. I can't wait to go back to that. That was a good deal.
She's got us on the schedule.
We set up our little table.
Yeah.
And just talk to whoever comes by, really.
That's close enough. There's no excuse for Jared not to show up.
Yeah, y'all need to come down to that.
No one ever told me when it is.
April.
I don't even know. I mean, I can't remember, and I don't even know how I got the invite. It was probably because of Benny, wasn't it?
Probably.
Do you remember, Chris, how we got the invite? You muted yourself again. Something's wrong with your system. I'm not touching nothing,
get
Chris.
A better microphone.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we hear you now.
I unplugged my other mic.
It's kind of quiet.
I'll just turn me up then.
Try to. Now talk.
I was on my mic, but it keeps. I didn't restart my computer.
Now your voice is coming, and then your lips are moving.
Usually his lips are just moving, and there's no voice out of it.
It's got that big old fuzzy mic.
I know how we ended up with that deal, Brett. I remember.
How's that?
I told you about it. I said, hey, I'm going to go over there. Justin and Carol Ann Marks were supposed to go. And I said, there's going to have all this stuff. Warner will be there. The Clumps will be there. They're having some ranch rodeos and a bull riding and all this stuff. And you said, well, hey, that ought to be fun. I'll talk to Tammy and we'll see about going. And so then you said, well, I'll get Chris and we'll just have a little live while we're there. And Kelly found out that we were going to be live, and she ran down and had a little banner made to hang on the wall. And
that's right.
And put a little table, and she said that it was talked about enough, and people were making enough inquiries about it that she wants us to be on. She just wants us to be a regular. She wants to actually put us in the schedule, I guess. I don't know what that means.
I'll be dang. That's cool. We'll do it. Huh, Chris? Now he's frozen. He must be having problems with his Starlink or something.
I bet his fourth or fifth wife is whacking him in the head.
That looks like a wanted poster right there.
No, it's my computer.
Oh, it's your computer?
Yeah, I didn't restart it, and I've had it on for... Oh, and then I just lost a video that I was editing.
Oh, I hate that.
I just got to restart. I'll be right back. Yeah,
Mama says computers are the devil.
Yep.
Well, unless you use an Apple computer.
That's right.
I like my Apple computers.
I don't know what's a good computer and what ain't.
There's no reason I should know about this kind of stuff because it's just the opposite of who I am, but they've always fascinated me.
So Billiam says that was the first video he watched. I don't know how he stumbled onto that one, but he's the one he's the guy I was in Artesia having breakfast with some guys, and he came in and sat down and he kept looking and said, you look familiar, and are you on YouTube? And I went, oh no.
Shoot, yeah.
Wayne, I got to tell Wayne, I know Wayne's talked to me about this, and I haven't told him anything before, but I I actually have a guy that I work with that he I'll say this on here. Like all the stuff that you see on Instagram or you start seeing reels that on Facebook. I don't do Facebook hardly. I like things and I put, whatever like on that. And then Instagram I'll put something up. But there's a guy that's taken care of all that stuff for me. And then he's edited some videos for me, not many. And he also I have a Spanish channel. And what you do is you take my videos that I make and you put them into this AI program, and it has me speaking Spanish, and then you upload them to a Spanish channel. And he also takes care. He takes care of some sponsor stuff that he's working on. He's the one who approached me a long, long time ago about it, and he's close to me, and he's an egghead. He's a real smart guy. So I let him.
Guarantee all that?
Do I guarantee it?
Yeah.
What do you mean guarantee? Guarantee what?
I'll guarantee it for you.
What do you guarantee? What though? What are we guaranteeing?
That everything you just said is accurate.
Yeah.
All right.
I guarantee that. Why would it not be accurate? Why?
Some people think just because you guarantee something, it may or may not be accurate.
I don't know why. Why would I say it if it wasn't accurate? Is what I'm getting at.
That's my point. That goes the same for all of us.
Well, I couldn't take care of everything. I was just getting so far behind on everything that I had to.
There's just people that are better at doing the digital stuff. Like
Absolutely.
I literally will ask my firefighters that are my subordinates to come help me with the computer stuff, because there's things that I cannot do, even though I'm their supervisor. They're teaching me how to do stuff because I have no clue about it.
And that, in like mailing stuff out and responding to correspondence and stuff like that, my wife takes care of most all of that. She's real good at that. The only thing I can do is I can go out and I can carry a camera and I can video. And for some reason that's out of this, I don't know why, I can talk to a camera like it's somebody is there, and I video it and I just try to share my experiences. So that's what I do. It's kind of weird, but especially for someone my age and coming from where I came from and everything, it's different.
So, Rowdy, are you a captain of the fire department?
Yeah, I am. I run a fire station. I used to run a 2-engine house, meaning I had 2 fire engines at my station. And then this year, I say this year, back in, so fire season starts about the 1st of June for us. And so the 1st of June, I got bumped to a more remote station because I was the more competent person in like that side of the unit. So I lost my station and got sent to another station to get it back in line. And yeah, so I've been there for the last 6 months.
So
that's a compliment.
Probably, at least of a famous relative of mine in the fire department.
Oh?
Fenton. Firefighter
Who?
Fenton.
Firefighter Fenton? I follow him on YouTube.
He's married to my cousin's daughter.
I like the snot out of him.
Yeah, he's a good guy too.
That's good to hear because his YouTube stuff is hilarious. That mustache he's got, I am 100% jealous of that. That red stash that just massive. It's fantastic.
That's a paste on.
Is it really?
Yes.
Oh, I feel so let down. My gosh. He was an idol.
He's a fraud. He's a fraud.
I feel cheated. You're going to have him contact me to redeem this. I feel so sad now.
No, he's clean shaven, and he's in New River, Arizona. He's
Is
at
he
Capitan.
Arizona? So shoot, he's all right. I'm coming to the Houndsman days next year. You better have him there.
Bring him to the
He is so
rendezvous.
busy. Man, he is
Oh,
busy.
uh,
He's
well,
he's
tell him
also
he's got 9 months. Tell him to freaking clear his schedule.
he's also he's in with fire department coffee now too. I think
Yeah,
he's part
FTC.
owner in that deal. Yeah.
Good. I'm glad to hear that because I order from them. Yeah, so my station coffee, I've got it a monthly order from them. We're expecting to close my station down for the winter, so I just stopped the reoccurring order, but that's who I order through for my station, FTC.
Y'all close it down for the wintertime?
Yeah, so you got to figure my station is going to be buried in about 6 to 10 foot of snow, depending on the winter.
Wow.
So instead of keeping my station open for, the idea of keeping it open, we close my station down, winterize it just like a regular cabin, and then we go back down to a lower station and we run calls out of there for the winter.
Here you go. Here's Wayne. Wayne, you sell us to Fox News or the Outdoor Channel or anything, and we'll be fine. We'll give you a high percentage of it.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, Wayne.
Thank you, Wayne.
Yeah. Hey, and I can't thank Wayne enough and his daughter for this beautiful sign of who I was just 20 years ago.
Benny, the Lorax.
Stomper.
Benny the Stomper.
Stomper. Oh, I was going off the picture. I just figured they said Benny the Lorax. I like it.
That's a cape, but it's too it's too tight.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Chris, Brett, Chris, which one of
He's
you's
like-
got the fake beard?
He's like
I
that.
can't tell.
What were those
never
guys?
reveal.
What was that show? Those guys were singing where they were pulling their beard down like
Heel
that.
Soggy
off.
bottom. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bottom voice.
Dude, I am a man of constant sorrow. I can hear that song
Soggy
right now.
bottom. Soggy bottom boys.
Soggy bottom boys.
Chris has to grow a beard. Without a beard, he looks like he's like 12 years old.
Probably.
Story of my life right there.
The only time I shave my beard is when I commit a felony.
How'd we get a thumbs down?
I don't know. Where'd that come from?
Rowdy?
It's your
I never
beard.
lifted my
It was his mustache. His mustache.
We give it a double thumbs up here. Make that second.
There you
There
go.
we go. Make up for it.
Perfect.
I didn't think I even lifted my hands, did I?
I didn't see
You didn't do
nothing.
It just snuck in on you.
What
Yeah.
else do we got, guys?
I'm gonna go to bed. I got to get up at 2:30.
Benny's got him a real job.
I know.
I don't blame
Yeah.
you, Benny.
I'm trying to make it till Thanksgiving, and I got some feelers out for other things. And I told my wife, I said, I think I should just take the land yacht, go to Arizona, and start looking around.
Mm-hmm.
He calls me about every other day. I have to hear his sorrow. I have to calm him down so he doesn't.
Sorrow.
I have to calm him down so he doesn't go murder someone.
Oh yeah, it was
Brett calming someone down. You're desperate if you're calling Brett to calm you down.
Anyway, you guys have a good evening.
All right.
Thank you, Benny. Thanks for stopping in. It's never the
Yes,
same
sir.
without you.
Good or bad?
Good or bad?
Good or bad?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not near as grumpy as Benny is.
Oh, especially when he has to work.
Oh, that's
So,
tearing him up.
yep. You don't
What
like
else do
that
we
work.
got, guys? Pick a subject. Let's pick it apart real quick.
Well,
Jared has something on his
There-
brain. Watch.
Come on, Jared.
dude, I just keep thinking about that snow hunting and how, man, it helps young dogs.
I'm sure it
oh,
does.
it absolutely
You
does.
don't. You don't.
And,
You don't think that running them consistently on snow can spoil them, make them not want to work hard enough on dirt?
It can. Like, I've seen dogs, everyone hunts different. I've seen guys hunt their dogs, on bobcat. And he'll be like, and, the dogs will hit a bad spot for 15, 20 minutes, and he'll call them back. And then he'll do circles around that spot in the truck till he to freshen it up. And I've gotten dogs from him before, and he's a heck of a hunter. But that dog will quit on a 20-minute lose, 30-minute lose, and just stand by me like, what are we doing? So when you're hunting the snow, don't just dump your dogs out and be like, go, because then when you're free casting them, they'll just waiting for you to find the track.
yeah.
They start
But
depending too much on you.
Yeah.
See,
when
I free cast my dogs, whether it's snow or bare ground, but
yeah,
if it's first thing in the morning, before I even get there, or let's say as I'm rolling up and I just all of a sudden happen onto a track, I'll keep my dogs going, or I'll drive quarter mile past it, and then I'll road my dogs for another quarter mile, half mile, whatever, just to get them cleaned out till they all start to line out behind or front of or behind the truck, whatever each dog likes to do, right? And then once they start to do that, I'll find a turnaround and I'll go back down. And what I like to do is I like to road them into that track.
So you
And if
free
they don't
cast them
catch
back into the track after you found it.
exactly. And then what I'll do is if they don't catch it, and depending on the dog, right? So I've got some dogs that are better than other dogs, and if I don't have a dog that will find the track, sometimes I will keep that dog back, right? So my strike dogs, I'll keep them back, and I'll just leave out the dogs that won't strike a track, and then I stop just shy of that track as I watch them walk across it, and I call them back, and I point it out to them. And then that has helped me. I've turned a couple different dogs out of just helper dogs into strike dogs because I let them go 50, 100 feet past that track, and I called them back and I pointed it out to them. And now they're doing very good. And it's not just one time, and it's multiple times. And I do that even when I'm doing bare ground, right? So I'll let them out and I rode them, but I'm always still looking for a track. And then I see a track, I'll call them back and I'll put them on it. If they don't smell it, I start tracking it out. And each time I find a track, I'll point it out to them. And I'm like, right here, right here. And I call that dog back, right here, right here. And I call another dog that maybe isn't as good as that dog, but that really gets that other dog that's better really competitive. And they start coming back and they're fighting that dog for that track. So they're really just, now I got
Competitive.
all these dogs looking at this one track because I just called a second-hand dog instead of the first-hand dog to look at this track.
I didn't know that, but Robert Chase said that lions can't turn off their scent in the snow.
Can't turn off their tracks either.
Yep.
How often in
Pretty
the
awesome.
snow do you guys have to help your dogs?
Those snow dogs though, they'll look for tracks. They'll go to the tracks.
You think they'll trail it by visual?
I've seen it.
They'll look
Lions,
for them
I haven't ever helped my dogs, but bobcats I've helped.
How about in dry ground conditions? How many times do you have to help your dogs?
All the time.
Oh, I usually walk with my dogs in the dry ground, so I'm right there with them.
But I mean, if you have a bad lose or something, how do you go about helping them?
Personally,
So
what I do is I back off 100, 200 yards, just whatever's, the most advantageous path, and I just make a loop. And I just come back, I from where they lost it, I just back off 100, 200 yards, and I'm right-handed, so usually I'll go right-handed, and I just
Just make a
make a
big
big
old
loop.
200-yard loop around it and move them around, try to
Yeah.
pick it up somewhere, try to find the track yourself. And
Yeah. Depending on the area, right? So if it's heading up a draw and all of a sudden it just disappears in a draw, I might head another 100, 200 yards up the draw. If it's in a flat ground or, based off terrain, I'll head to whatever I think is the most likely way it went. But if I can't pick, I just, right-handed, I go 200 yards out and I just make a circle.
is that what you do,
Otherwise,
Jared?
so if my dogs make a lose, if it's in a grassy meadow, I stay out of it just because I can't find nothing in it anyway. But if they're in a wash or we're going down to a wash or whatever, and if I can help, I'm gonna help. But I won't call a dog until I find a track. I'll sneak around and away from them and not bother them, and look for a track where I can actually help.
You don't ever think
When I
that you
find
have
it,
to.
I'll say call.
You don't ever think that you have to move them and say, hey, over here, over here. Just moving them around if they get stuck, just because they can't move it. They can't get it moving.
If it gets real bad, I will. I'll, like we haven't done nothing in 45 minutes.
Oh, you give them that
I'll do
long?
it. Oh, I'll give them forever because half the time I screw everything up.
I hear you. I've done that a lot.
Yeah.
Do you know about the time you find a track and you call them up?
Not yet, no. But so I'll do a big old circle, or 100, 200 yards with the circle with the dogs. If they don't do anything, go even bigger, then go even bigger. And usually by then, it's either there or it's not. But I think I told you that story at the rendezvous, is I trailed into a line. The dogs couldn't trail out of it.
You trailed into
It took
what? You
us an
broke up?
hour.
You broke up? You trailed into what?
A lion kill. It killed
Oh,
two little forked horn coons. And the dogs couldn't trail out of it. They were standing on their head. And we did a circle. They didn't pick nothing up. We did a big old circle, and I found the track in the wash that time. And they couldn't smell it in the wash. And we went, I don't know, 400 or 500 yards up the wash, and I couldn't find the track in the wash anymore. And so I called the dogs, and we started going backwards. And my little June dog, this little finger jaw came down, and my little June dog just snapped her head over, and she smelled this little mesquite branch or cat claw branch that was hanging in the wash. And she opened up on it, and they had that lion caught 30 minutes later.
she was just up that wash a little ways.
Yeah, she just that little finger jaw. They just went up that little finger jaw, crested the hill, up and over the other side and treat.
Do you help your dogs a lot, Chris?
As much as I can, but I was just talking to my dad about this day. So we used to, teach tracking, and we had a guy that would go track for track. This guy would measure stride, but we did a lot of leapfrogging. So when my dogs start losing it, I like to leapfrog, which is circle, do a big circle, come around and try to catch a track. I'm like with Jared, you just keep making circles until you pick something up or visually pick something up. But I like how Jared too. I let the dogs go, and I'm usually on my mule, so I'll ride around in big circles and just try to see if I can catch a track. And if I catch a track, I'll bring somebody over, kind of call them that way and see if they pick it up again. So, but I'm a big leapfrogger. But that's how I used to teach, like human tracking too. Same thing. If you lose the track, you just you can kind of know which way they're going. I'm not as good as some of those, those old timers, but there's only a certain way those are going to go. even man tracking, we call it man traps, to where they're going to go between the two bushes. They're not going to walk between a bush or right through a tree. So they'll walk certain ways, and I'll check all those. I'll check all those for tracks.
How about if those dogs are trailing and they go under some real low-hanging branches, and you sit there and you look and you think, I don't think a lion would go underneath that.
I've seen. I get you there.
Then you sit there and look at them and you think, oh, those dogs are foxing on me. They're foxing on me.
Yeah. And it depends on the tree. Like, if I got a belly crawl through that to get through it, especially in southern Arizona, if I got a belly crawl to get through it, to me it seems like it's a fox. Why would
now I'll tell you something. I had a real good, a friend of mine's really, really good lion hunter. I'm not going to drop any names here, but we were taught that. Said, oh, if those dogs start, you get to one of those trees and there's branches hanging down, those dogs will want to start smelling underneath it. And said that's a good indicator that they're foxing on you. And he called me one day. He said, hey, let me tell you something. He said, those lions will go underneath some pretty low branches. He said, because I just caught one, and he said, and I thought my dogs were foxing on me.
Especially when you're in country with a lot of manzanita.
Yeah. I think it is absolutely like circumstantial, right? Is it a big bush that they're going to have to like weave their way through? Or is it just, the low hanging branches of like, say, a spruce tree? Are they going to be able to just duck underneath it?
Yeah.
The good chance is going to be a lion. Are they going to have to like get down underneath there, weave through the branches because of manzanita? Probably a fox. But it 100% circumstantial is my thought process on that. Like everything you're going to have to evaluate.
How about smelling certain sides or smelling a side of the branch to indicate direction of travel?
I've never thought of that before.
Today
I'm just asking. I'm getting technical here. I've had a lot of time to think about all this. I don't know the answers.
What I seen Yucky do today is when he couldn't find it down in that valley, he was doing that. He would sniff the ground and then he would go over to a bush. No matter how big it was, whether it was 8-10 inches or tall, and he would smell up and down that bush and then go back to the ground. Like maybe he thought, hoping it would have brushed against it. Maybe, I don't know.
How about are lions like house cats? Do they rub up against stuff?
Absolutely.
I think if they're not being chased,
yeah.
I think if they're being chased, they can get sneaky. So that going under the trees might just be one of them tactics.
Well, I think I believe when they're I've seen it. I've seen my booger dog's real good at it. When you're just trailing a track, the lion doesn't. He's been there a long time ago. I think he does. They rub up against stuff. Or take their, how you go like that up against something. So I've seen that dog be trailing, and then all of a sudden smell up on top of, up high on something. And there we go. But I don't know. I've heard people say, and I can't remember who, about what side of that branch or whatever they're smelling on determines which way they were going. Now, I don't know. I make stuff up.
No,
I know there's
that possibility, but probability, no.
If my dogs start smelling up trees, like not climbing the tree, but they're on their hind legs smelling up trees, 90% of the time that's a monkey.
I watched a lion. I watched it. We were trailing out of a kill, and of course I'm in some country that doesn't have many trees, and there was just one little old cedar tree out there, and that lion jumped up in that tree to look back to see what was coming. I sat there and watched it, and we were on a ranch, and I told the guy there that was going to shoot the lion, I told him, I said, shoot that. I didn't want the dogs to even get to it because I knew we were going to catch it on the ground. I said, shoot that sucker right there. And he shot and missed. And then it came out of the tree and was going up the hill, and he shot and wounded it. But I probably shouldn't tell the story here. But
yeah, it was 20 years ago, 30 years ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. But yeah, I watched the lion get up in the tree. The lion was bedded down below the tree, and then got up in the tree and looked back to see what was coming.
I think that's what
just give you something else to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what happened over here last year when I caught that little female, because she was in little, well, there's not big trees down here either. Your Palo Verdes on the side of a hill, they don't get very big because there's no water. But that's what it did. It would get under, it was 3 trees they were treed under. And I think that's what it was doing. It jumped up there to look back, and then they caught up to it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what he's saying here. I think it's a great benefit to follow a lion in the snow without dogs, or track for track dogs. You'll learn a lot about it. If you got dogs that are going to trail a lion, you spend a lot of time out there trailing lions, especially out here in the dirt, and you don't catch them, but you learn a lot about, lion behavior, where they travel and how they like to travel and what they do. I mean, to me, that's part of the fun of it. Just
hey guys,
trying to guess, I'll sit there and I don't always include it in my videos, but I'll be sitting there talking to the camera, say, I bet that lion went right up through that saddle up there. Or I bet that lion went across here and goes up that draw. And I'm right about 20% of the time.
Do y'all have a lot of trouble with getting bogged down in cattle bedding areas? I haven't, but I've been hunting through elk bedded areas too, and same thing. I think if you have young pups, it might booger you up.
Some of those big open yellow grasses, the yellow grass spots, you get kind of have a hard time getting through that.
But
if you could follow a lion track in the snow without dogs and watch it, and then if you could somehow follow another lion track in the snow with your dogs on it and see the difference it acts, because in the snow, I wasn't chasing a lion, and someone sent me a track, and that thing just straight lined out. Straight line.
Big
Go 10
Tom?
miles, hit a road. Yes.
Yeah, he's going through the
10
country.
miles, hit a road, and you could draw a line on your OnX and find that track. But if there was dogs, if that was a fresh track dogs chasing it, who knows what that thing would do? You think it would try to,
well, if it knew,
lose those dogs,
Well,
or are they just going to beeline in a straight line just faster?
no, those traveling toms, I've seen it in Nevada, mainly in Nevada. I haven't seen a lot. And it seems like Arizona, they wander and zigzag a little bit more than what they do in Nevada. But in Nevada, you'll get on a scratching tom, and like you said, you could pretty much shoot an arrow to where he's going next. It's dead straight.
Yeah, I think these lions down here do that. The toms do. They, they're over here in a mountain range over there, and it's a little mountain. We don't have great big mountain ranges. But there's a mountain range over here, and that tom goes through there. There's no female or anything there, and he looks across and he sees another mountain range over there. It's a beeline and goes straight across there. I followed them, through those draws, where they're going, and you can almost look and say, oh, well, that's where they're going, and they check it out. They might spend a little bit of time there, seeing if there's a female in there, and then they go to big ranges though. They I don't know. I haven't got proof of it myself, but from talking to Kenneth Loggins, the guy who he spent his whole life studying lions, and then when they did this study up here in the San Andreas, some of those big old tom lions, they might have a 200 square mile range. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's impressive the square range of a big tom lion, just because maybe it's just the water, maybe it's just the females that I don't know, but here, and Jared knows, you might not see a tom for over a month and a half,
or longer than that here.
Comes back through. Yeah,
we might not have one come through for 6 months. It's just they're gone.
It's a long time.
Yeah, it's a long time. I tell you one thing I've learned from trailing them. I found where there's lots of water sources out here. Little Tanakas, little bowls in the rocks that hold water, and there's some of them that they hold 300 or 400 gallons of water, so they have water most of the year. But I've trailed to a lot of those, and then here I go. This is the dry ground, the dirt hunting in this area. One of the biggest problems is is on those rims and in that good rock and stuff, you can trail an old lion track. But then you get into one of those little flats or you get in a bad spot, you can't trail an 8-hour-old lion track. But you might be barking and trailing a 3-day-old lion track up on top. And you can't find a track. I mean, you just gotta keep going.
Yep.
Up here, and I hate it, but Jared knows way more than I do. But we have so much blow sand up here, right?
That's
Because we're in the Great
terrible,
Basin.
yeah.
We're up there in the north end of the Great Basin. There's so much blow sand that you might trail off of a ridge, right, and you'll drop down in a canyon, and it's leading to another ridge, or there might be a couple different ridges that lion could have went to. And as soon as you drop down in that valley, you just the scent's gone.
Yeah.
It's because you get into that blow sand or that just finer sand, or you're going across the valley because there's a stage down
can
there.
Can you see a track in that stuff, or does it get?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes, yeah. So it really depends on what the weather's been like, right? So if it's been a warmer summer and you're getting good monsoons, last year I was struggling with it rains, but it never got cold enough that the ground froze. So the ground stayed hard as a freaking rock. I could walk across it myself and never leave a track. And then so you're just 100% relying on those dogs. It's like walking across a piece of granite. Maybe the dogs can smell it, maybe they can't, depending on whatever the composition of the soil is or the facing of the slope. It's just, you never know until you get there. And then a lot of times you just lose track of you lose the track and you don't, you got a general direction because of the way it was going. But then you got a mile, 2 miles of open valley to go across and figure out what road to go up. And by the time you get all the way across over there, now it's 2-3 o'clock and the sun's beating down on it and you're SOL.
Yeah. 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock is that's a tough time to trail through down here. I mean, you just, I don't know if dogs get tired or the sun just burns everything out for a while or what happens, but it seems like 2 o'clock is tough.
Yeah. I mean, I can't tell you how many times, I have no clue, that I've been trailing a lion, started them at before daylight, been trailing them all morning, and then 2-3 o'clock, just dogs lose it. They stop, come back, and I'm with them and I'm looking and I just can't see a track because that ground is just so hard.
Well, and maybe that's like a time all across the country that lions at 2 o'clock, they turn their scent off.
Yep. Hey, that could be. Absolutely.
I think they do.
I'm going to bed.
Pretty sure they do.
It's quitting time.
Listen, you guys got till 2 o'clock to trail me, and if you can't, too bad. You got to start again tomorrow. I'll kick it back on at 7 in the morning.
Right.
I'm asking questions. I like to hear everybody's opinion.
What would Ben Lilly do? He just goes.
Well, Ben Lilly was a lot tougher than I am, and he was out there.
Whatever
he ran into, he ran into.
Well, Ben Lilly do?
Back in Ben Lilly's day, he didn't have a whole lot to worry about. I mean, not talking about
no law, no time.
Well, he had no laws, and he didn't have I'd freak out. Not so much in Nevada, but I freak out down here if I got dogs a mile ahead of me and they're crossing a dirt road.
Yeah.
I'm like, them buggers are gonna get picked up by some do-good hiker doing the Arizona Trail or something stupid.
Exactly. There was a eighth of the amount of people back then that there are now, and they don't have to, they didn't have to deal then with the animal rights activists. They didn't have to deal then with the people telling us that we couldn't hunt during the night. They didn't have to deal then with the people that tell us we had a hunting license, had a hunting, had a tag.
Well, and Ben Lilly's only rule was he wouldn't hunt on Sunday. I mean, and he lived out there just like a lion.
And he slept 4 hours a night. He thought if you slept more than 4 hours, so that
you were lazy. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he hunted till dark, slept, got up in the morning, and you're telling me those dogs didn't catch everything at 2 in the morning, 3
Now
in the
what's this?
morning?
Now what is he? Now what does this guy mean by this? Y'all boys been smoking some good stuff. Is he mean we're making stuff up? I always get a kick out of these guys that have never dry ground lion hunted. Try to tell.
Well,
I had one guy comment on my deal, say, "Oh, you just need to get you some good meat dogs." Well, what good's a good meat dog if he can't cold trail a lion in the dirt?
Yeah, if he can't physically smell something, he ain't gonna find you anything.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's when we was talking about turning the sin off at 9 o'clock and 7 o'clock.
Oh no, they do.
Yeah, everybody knows that, Troy.
Yeah.
You don't have to smoke nothing to know that.
That's it. They turn their sin off.
Yeah, just because other houndsmen don't believe it, don't mean it ain't true.
Yeah,
I always laugh.
It's a regional thing, and it until you come out here and experience it, and you're trailing, and your dogs are moving that sucker, and then 10 o'clock it starts getting to be 70. Noon it's 85 degrees. 2 o'clock it's 90 degrees. And all of a sudden, your dogs are literally just standing there panting.
See, somebody believes you. You got a thumbs up.
Yeah, you don't know what you're talking about.
It's frustrating, I know, but that's cool though.
And by noon, when the RHs, the relative humidity is 7 degrees, not 70. I mean 7 degrees, 7%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew he was talking about that.
Yeah.
Who says we're joking?
Your relative humidity is 7%, literally, and you can grab a piece of grass and go like this with it, and it turns into dust.
Yeah.
It doesn't bend. I mean, it just turns into dust. You don't know.
Yeah.
Y'all talk about when you're talking about roads and people. I really don't worry about that. I haven't thought about that. And I've had a dog picked up before when I was up in the mountains. It's like I looked at my tracker and all of a sudden he was going 35 miles an hour. So, but I never really thought about that. I don't worry about it out here in where I hunt. I mean, I just don't. Of course, out here though where I hunt, I can stay with my dogs. I mean, my mule's pretty fast. I mean, I can stay with them. This is not hard country really to get around in. It's real easy, but we just don't have a lot of lions, and then the trailing conditions are tough.
There's one road for 3 miles and 64,000 of wilderness I hunted today, and it goes to one spot, and you have to either walk in or whatever. They got a road that takes you a few miles in, and then the water, it's the guy told me today it was 2.4 miles. From where you park to the water, but there's no roads in there. 64,000 miles or acres, and 3 miles away is another water that has a road in. So that's the only road.
What was that you just posted there, Brett?
You need to hunt what you like, where you like, how you like, and to hell with anyone that thinks different. That's true.
Yeah, and so I'm not. My little spiel wasn't saying that what someone believes is wrong. It's just different regions have different conditions, and until you hunt that condition, you really just don't understand it. Right?
Exactly.
Unless you're Cody King, and you can catch something anywhere you want.
Hey, him and I he's coming down
when you're freaking amazing, you're amazing no matter where you're at.
He's coming down. I got some places. I got some pretty good places where there's some bobcats, and I've caught some bobcats, but they're usually pop-ups. Mm-hmm. But he's gonna bring his dogs down. I'm gonna film it. I'm not taking any dogs or nothing. I'm just gonna be the film boy, kind of like I did in Oklahoma, and I'm gonna film him and see if we can get some of these bobcats caught. See, I want to see how his dogs react to those areas.
But you know why his dogs are so good?
Catches a ton of bobcats.
That's all he does.
Because he takes them every day, 16 hours, 2 hours. It don't matter, that guy.
Oh, he don't sleep. He's like a Ben Lilly. He don't sleep much.
Mm-hmm.
Although, let me tell you something, he's had some problems with lions here lately. And it's a different ball game. I mean, just what a lion does, I guess, or how a dog trails a lion is just a little different deal.
We got our butts kicked last year by this
That was a
female.
that was a discussion. Brian Jansen, he does, and so he did a spill. He did a little spill at Game and Fish, and so they have these split up in zones over here. So they shut down a zone. They don't shut down a unit, but with lions, that lion, they have 2 or 3, 4 units in one area, and that lion may be. So when you're killing lions in Arizona, that lion may have came from another zone, another unit,
or Mexico,
152, or Mexico, 200 miles away. So for them to say, "Hey, we're going to shut this unit down because, this zone down that has some of those zones have what 8 units in it, Jared? 6 units?
Yeah. Oh shoot, the southern unit. The southern unit's huge. I will never be able to hunt all the areas I can in the southern unit alone in Arizona.
Yep.
There you go. We got a non-believer there.
Yeah.
He'll be on Facebook or Instagram telling everybody how we're stupid.
I think it was more to do with you.
I read that as it's more the conditions and not the lion itself, is what I read that as.
Well, we've said this before. They don't turn their scent off. We've already talked about this, about how it's old timers say they turn the scent off.
No, I don't, Tim.
Now, does a lion know that if he goes through the greasewood, those dogs can't chase him, or does that lion say, when I get into the greasewood, I can't smell a damn deer, so I'm gonna go through the greasewood?
I don't think they have reasoning ability like that. I don't think they can reason like that.
But
no.
You can train a lion to get away.
Oh yeah, I mean, if he's gotten away a few times before, he knows where to go.
Yep.
I mean, he knows where he'll lose whatever's pursuing him, I imagine.
Yeah,
but I don't think they reason and say they have the sense to say I can't smell that. I can't smell in here, so they can't smell in here. I don't think they can have that kind of reasoning ability.
Yeah.
Good night.
But last year we got on this running female, and we had her jumped and going hard. And we had, I think, 11 or 13 dogs on it. It was me and a buddy. And all of a sudden they hit a spot they couldn't trail her for 400 yards. We kicked the dogs down this wash for 400 yards, and all of a sudden they blew up and took off again.
Yeah, what happened in that area?
And we still never saw her.
She turned her scent off in there.
Just this 400-yard stretch.
Maybe they can only turn their scent off for a certain amount of time. They hold their breath. They hold their breath.
Maybe that's what it is. They hold their breath. Maybe they shake it off. They shake it off, and then they drop so much of their cells off when they do that. They can run so far before it builds back up again.
Now, I think there's. I think that, like, say after they've killed something, right? What does the cat do every time it kills something or it eats? It sits there and cleans itself, right? And what's the first thing it does? Is it licks its feet, right? So it gets its feet all wet, and then it starts doing this, right? I do think that there's something to do with its scent or its saliva about killing its scent, right? Because they're always licking the inside of their back, or the inside back of their front feet, right? I think there is something to do with that. Because how many times have you had a hard time trailing out of a kill?
Yeah, so, kills can go two ways. You either look like a rock star, or you look like you've never hunted a lion in your life.
Well, if you jump them, they don't have time to clean themselves if you just jump them off a kill. Or if they hear you coming,
it's all circumstantial, right? So did it have time to clean itself before it left there? Was it licking its paws? Was it, cleaning? Who knows? So it's all circumstantial we will almost never know what the hell happened before we got to trail it, unless we knew that, hey, this lion killed this deer. We put a camera up on it. It ate for 45 minutes before it decided to clean itself, and then it cleaned itself before it left this kill, and then it left it this direction, and then we came in an hour later and we tried trailing it. We would have to have 17 different cameras, 17 different angles to know exactly what the heck was going on in that kill, and then we might have some kind of basis to form an opinion on. But I think there is something about them cleaning themselves and their spit, because their tongue, right? So their tongue's got all those little frickin' spines coming off of it. So there's something to do with their spit cleaning and cleaning that oil off and that blood off to limit the scent. So I
The
think
problem is, if you've trailed enough lions, you make up all kinds of stuff for what they do.
right. I think there's some correlation there.
Rowdy's been thinking a lot about it. I tell you what,
it drives me insane.
Go ahead, Chris.
Well, let me tell you something about lions turning their scent off. It's a better conversation than saying, is snow or dirt better? Because
It is.
let me tell you something about, when you talk about lions turning their scent off, people don't say nothing really too much right now. They will stew about it, and we just talked about this. They will post something, probably because they're too scared to come on here and say something, some of those guys, and they'll just sit in their little hole in the wall in their little cabins and talk their shit on social media, talking about lions turning their scent off, and anybody thinking about it crazy. But until you have seen it, and where did it come from? All the rumors come from somewhere, and there's a lot of old timers. There's a lot of new guys that are like, "Why did I go? I seen it. It weren't there. We seen it go up there, hit a certain spot, and then they just quit." You know. And then there's some people that say it's the dog's problem. Well, how is there 8, 9 dogs on there that lose the scent? If it was just one dog, I understand. Oh, that dog. But even 50% of the dogs. But for all the dogs to say, for you to say all the dogs are just, they just all got confused over sensory whatever. That was from, who that was from, So I don't want to mention no names, Chris Powell, but anyway, like you say, stuff like that.
Well, that,
you know what I mean? Like that's just as silly as saying they turn their scent off. All the dogs decided they're just going to sensory overload and quit.
Yeah.
There's something to it. There's something to it. Now, I'm going to tell you how you figure this out. You get a nose like a dog. Go get it transplanted. And if you can smell, and then all of a sudden you can't smell, he turned his scent off or something. But until you can smell like a dog, you just have to make calculated guesses. But
well, I think most people, and we all, I'm sure we agree that it's either the conditions that they're going through at that time, or maybe it's something that the lion. Though I just have a theory that when they go to sneaking, I mean, I sat there and watched it. I watched it with me and Mike Root, and I learned a lot that day from Mike, because those dogs trailed up into those boulder piles. And then it was like they lost it. It was just like the lion turned his scent off. And he just sat there and he said, wait, let's just wait. And I'm looking around. I think, that lion went up through that saddle over there, and I'm trying to be smart. And he said, no, let's just watch. Let's just watch. Sat there. It seemed like forever. And then all of a sudden, boom, there was a lion on a rock. So, and I talked to another guy in Arizona, a pretty famous lion hunter. And, he said his theory is that a lot of times before those lions go to bed down, that they go to sneaking. Instead of they're just walking along, leave, drop, pop on, then they go to sneaking to get to their bed for whatever reason. And that's always been my theory. Like sometimes you get into a place and whatever, they see something, or they're topping out, or they're doing something, and they go to sneaking. And when they go to sneaking, that scent picture just changes, and it seems like they turn their scent off. That's, but and that's turning their scent off is just a simple explanation for not being able to trail them any further.
But why is it so far-fetched when there's crazy animals in this world that do different stuff that's crazy?
Change colors. Yeah.
Change colors, fluorescent, whatever they do in their life, there's just absolutely phenomenal things an animal can do. So what makes it so far-fetched that a lion, for some reason, can go to sneaking or eliminate, or maybe he produces a different odor? There's animals that produce different odors. Why 3 different races can quit at the same time?
Why 3 different races can quit at the same time, then pick back up at the same time. I'm thinking something magnetic about this rock we on. Yeah, there might be. I'm sure there's things that we don't have any explanation for.
How does a horse? How can you go ride your mule horse or your dog anywhere and they know where the truck is?
They know how to get back. Yeah.
And that mule hits 3rd gear going back to the truck. So they have their GPS built in, or electric. You're right. There's just energy in the. Who knows? If we had noses like dogs, we wouldn't be running dogs, and we wouldn't be asking us these questions.
Absolutely.
But it's a good theory, and I appreciate turning the sin off because it causes so much drama. Maybe next week we'll just post lions do turn their sin off. We have proof.
We'll get a scientist on here. He can give us the scientific reasons why they can do it.
Jared, can you get that PhD, that butterfly guy on here?
Oh my God.
He can throw some scientific jargon out here. Hey, I went up here and caught this little overnight. I mean, the dog came in the evening before, or the lion came in the evening before and killed the lady's dog. She called me that night. I was out there, at daylight the next morning. I couldn't start that lion in her yard. I mean, the dogs knew there'd been a lion there, but they just wagged their tails. They couldn't trail out of there. No way. And I was absolutely embarrassed. I thought, well, there was a lot of commotion going on here, and the lady was throwing rocks at the dog or the lion and everything. And I thought, man, we'll trail right out of here. And then me being the smart lion hunter that I am, I said, well, that lion went down to the river. And I moved the dogs down to the river. Not even a bark, no nothing. Then Booger went up the side of the hill, and he started trailing out of the side of the hill, and we trailed up the canyon, caught that little lion. But it dang sure wasn't nothing fast. It was slow, easy. I mean, just cold trail until they caught it. That lion never even. She was starving to death too. She didn't hear the dogs coming and take off or anything. But it was kind of embarrassing there in the yard.
I'm going to try to get hold of Brian Jansen and see if he'll come on and just talk about lion scent. He won't talk about politics, but he might come on and talk about lion scent.
Yeah.
He's been trailing lions.
I'm going to go up and I'm going to go interview Harley Shaw too. He's the one who wrote that book, Soul Among the Lions, and he hunted with the Goswicks and everybody like that. And he's real knowledgeable, and he's real, one of these real smart guys, not like us.
The smoking dope all night. We're up here smoking. Hey, you know what the big question was in the old days was, does a lion scratch with its front or back? Remember that? It was a big deal. Now it's, do they turn their sin off?
I'll show you.
That's the question you need to ask from now on.
Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. See if I can find it. This is what we need to get a video of. Whoop. I didn't turn you guys off. No, there you are. We need to get a video of the lions turning their scent off is what we need to do.
Oh, wait. It was after 2:00. Maybe he turned it back on.
Oh, maybe he did. He stopped there for a minute.
Dude, you got him, Chris.
Oh, jeez. All right, guys. We've gone for over 3 hours. I'm losing my voice.
Really? Oh,
I haven't talked this much in a month.
I'm telling you, turn their sin off is a beautiful subject. I'm going to get a shirt made. lions do turn their scent off.
And snow hunters are sissies.
I love it.
Start calling them snow bunnies.
Yep. Start trouble.
Guys, that was fun. Thank you. Thanks for coming in, Rowdy and Jared. Anytime you got time, stop in. Tell us some good stories.
Yeah, that link stays the same on Brett's.
It's getting.
Hopefully next week I'll have a elk hunting story about the wife.
There you go. Bring some pictures. Send me some pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll do that if we can
And
get
then
one. Hopefully, either way, I'll send you a picture too.
The lion hunting should be getting hot and heavy. If you can take, little clips like Chris sent me, send me, get little clips of your phone, of your dogs trailing, or if you get one in a tree or on anything, take a little video of it and send it to us. That's I love to hear, and then make sure you have a good story. I want to hear one of those stories where I started at 8 o'clock in the morning and I trailed it for 3 days and I slept on the ground, and then I caught it on the third day in the afternoon. And I took some pictures of it and I said, see you next time.
Yep.
You bet. We'll get you something.
All right, guys. Thank you. Chris, as always.
All righty.
Thank you, sir.
Sounds good, guys.
Bye, Jared. Bye, Rowdy. Bunch of damn.